training program of the peer review, and I'm very happy that around 100 participants are with us for this virtual training program for peer reviewers. We are having our honorable resource person, very prominent chartered accountant from Indore, CIRC Trivedi ji. A very big round of applause for CIRC Trivedi ji. And of course, we are having the chairman of Ghaziabad branch, CA Karan Garg ji, and our honorable secretary of the Ghaziabad branch, CA Vibhor Jindal ji. So may I request CA Vibhor Jindal ji to start the proceedings. Over to CA Vibhor Jindal ji, secretary of Ghaziabad branch.
Thank you, Anuj Gol sir. I welcome all the participants on behalf of Ghaziabad branch of CISC of ICAI. ये peer review training program में आप सबका बहुत स्वागत है। जितने भी हमारे सेंट्रल काउंसिल मेंबर, चेयरमैन, peer review बोर्ड, मैं सभी का बहुत धन्यवाद करता हूँ जिन्होंने गाजियाबाद ब्रांच को ये मौका दिया कि हम ये प्रोग्राम होस्ट कर सके, ये ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम करा सके। थैंक यू वेरी मच। मैं उम्मीद करूंगा ये 2 दिन का जो हमारा प्रोग्राम चलेगा, इसमें आप सभी को जो आपके जितने भी क्वेश्चंस हैं उन सबके आंसर्स मिलेंगे और ये बहुत अच्छी तरीके से प्रोग्राम चलेगा अंडर द लीडरशिप ऑफ ऑनरेबल सी अनुज गोयल जी और हमारे कोऑर्डिनेटर अंकित गोयल जी, जो लगातार आप सबके कनेक्ट में रहेंगे सारे क्वेश्चन आंसर्स के लिए। मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा आप सब लोगों से मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा अपने गाजियाबाद ब्रांच के चेयरमैन, यंगेस्ट चेयरमैन ऑफ गाजियाबाद ब्रांच सीए करण गर्ग जी से कि वो आए और आप सबको एड्रेस करें। ओवर टू करण गर्ग जी।
Thank you, Secretary Vibhor Jindal ji, Secretary Ghaziabad branch, Vice Chairman and Central Council member, Vice Chairman Peer Review Board, C. Anuj Goyal ji. Thank you so much, sir, for giving Ghaziabad branch an opportunity to conduct a peer review training program under your leadership. We are very thankful to you, and we at Ghaziabad branch are trying to mitigate all the queries of our members of Ghaziabad branch as well as the nearest branches, so that we can conduct programs as many programs as we can and help each and every member to get knowledge through those programs. And I believe this peer review training program will also ensure, and all our faculties will also ensure the knowledge under their guidance and deliberation. You will get the knowledge for peer review training and you all become peer reviewers. Thank you so much. Over to Vibhor Jindal ji.
Thank you, Karan Garg ji, for your nice words. I would now like to request our honorable Central Council member and Vice Chairman, Vice President, Peer Review Board, C. Anuj Goyal sir, for his welcome address. Over to Anuj Goyal sir.
Thank you, CA Vibhor Jindal ji, our honorable secretary of the branch. Thank you, Karan Garg ji, our honorable chairman of Ghaziabad branch. And we are having the presence of CA Ajay Kumar Gupta ji, our very prominent chartered accountant from Lucknow. And we are having CA Sachin Agarwal ji, our very prominent chartered accountant from Delhi. And I welcome once again CSC Trivedi ji, our honorable guest speaker, and all the peer reviewers and the prospective peer reviewers. Very good evening to all of you. Friends, I am really very happy that we are the part of this virtual training program for peer reviewers, as we are very well aware that it is now mandatory that each and every chartered accountant who has completed his 10 years of practice, if you want to be the part of this peer review process, you want to act as peer reviewer, it is mandatory to be the part of this training program and then to appear in the exam to be conducted by the peer review board. And even the existing peer reviewers are supposed to be the part of this virtual training program. We can have the physical training program also, and then we have to pass the prescribed examinations. So today and tomorrow, 7th and 8th of April, we will be having the 3-hour session from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. And you must be very well aware that now from 1st April 2022, the peer review is mandatory for the chartered accountants who want to do the attest function of the listed companies. Earlier, it was mandatory from the side of the Security and Exchange Board of India, SEBI. But now the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India has made it mandatory that every chartered accountant who want to do the attest function of a listed company has to be his firm is supposed to be peer reviewed, and only when one is having the valid peer review certificate, then only one is eligible to do the attest function of the listed companies, and in the phased manner. For each and every attest function, it would be mandatory for the practicing unit to have a valid peer review certificate, and unless until we will be having a valid peer review certificate, we will not be eligible to do the attest function even of the non-listed companies or the banking sector companies. And we are trying our level best to see that how we can have the best of the training material for the peer reviewers, how we can handle the peer reviewers so that this peer review process can be very meaningful. Statement on peer review revised 2021 we can see view with Asim Trivedi ji. He is a very techno savvy chartered accountant and is trying to put his best to see that how we can really do something very concrete, not only for the peer reviewers but also for the practicing units, because our endeavor is this that how we can build the capacity of the practicing units. We are not here to find the faults of the practicing units, but to build the capacity, how we can try to see that they can improve their systems, how they can have the best working papers in place. And I'm quite confident that this peer review process, the revised decision of the council will go a long way for the development of the process of the practicing units. You are very well aware, friends, that if we want to get empaneled with the CNAG, then unless until we are peer reviewed, our firm is peer reviewed, is having the valid peer review certificate, we are not eligible for the major audits. In the same way, if we want to be the in the panel of the central statutory auditor, it is mandatory that we should have the valid peer review certificate. So practically for all practical purposes, for the major assignments, still the valid peer review certificate is mandatory. Now the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India from its side has started that process that unless until my chartered accountant firm is having the valid peer review certificate, that firm is not eligible to do the attest function of the listed companies to begin with. And in the times to come, as it is, Asim Trivedi ji will let you know that in the phased manner, it is going to be implemented for the attest function of other entities also. I will not be taking your further time, as we are very eager to hear our honorable guest speaker, the resource person, C. Asim Trivedi ji. I once again welcome C. Ajay Gupta ji from Lucknow. During the end of the process session, I will request Ajay Gupta ji and Sachin Agarwal ji to throw some light on behalf of the practicing units. What are the difficulties we are facing in this peer review process, so that the peer review board can come out of the process, smoothen the process of identifying the peer reviewers and how we can get the peer review process completed at the earliest. So once again, I welcome all our honorable peer reviewers and the prospective peer reviewers to this virtual training program for peer reviewers. Thank you very much, friends. And may I request Asim Trivedi ji for his words of wisdom for his session. A very big round of applause for Asim Trivedi. Over to Asim Trivedi.
Thank you, Anuj.
I think you are on mute, Asim.
Yeah. Thank you, Anuj bhai. After a long time, pre-COVID, we had this peer review seminar at in your able leadership hall in Delhi, and I think this is after that COVID, we have one more program virtually, but now it is again nice to hear you, sir, and always it is and a source of inspiration, Anuj bhai, always, as the most energetic chartered accountant I have ever seen in my life, or I'm saying most energetic and dynamic council member, if I must say, and his PR skills are, I can say, if there is a measurement of Guinness Book of World Record, it should be in his name, that he can identify each and every chartered accountant, not from Delhi. He can identify and recognize each and every chartered accountant of Indore itself, of central region itself, and he can name him always. So hats off to you, sir. You are so kind to all members and always ready for service, and he never misses a single call. If you call Anuj Bhai and if he misses it, by evening you will going to receive Anuj Bhai's call that what is the problem, your call was there. Even it is a student, even it is anything, you can exactly witness what I'm saying. So Anuj Bhai, thank you very much. We are fortunate to have you always with us and guiding this particular thing again. Now let's come to the particular session. I have been given 2 sessions. The first session, why we need to have peer review, and second is the session that what is the process of peer review. In these present very circumstances, I can say there is no need for this lecture. Why we should have peer review? We have witnessed since last 1 week the turbulence which was going on with us, and on all WhatsApp universities, the able students of WhatsApp universities were saying that the profession is gone, council is lost its power, members are becoming helpless, council members are not doing anything, President Saab is not here in India, and lots of things which are going on. And according to those WhatsApp university principals and social media vice chancellors, I must say chancellors, the IIA had been arrived, and colleges had been opened, and all the curriculum had been set, and all the members had been in a very devastated position, and all the articles have joined those IIAs, and we found nothing in the profession. If this kind of atmosphere we are going to create, what kind of a confidence we are having right now in after 70 years? I can't believe this, that these guys who are having alphabets before their name, how they can add these 2 confident words before them if they don't have a confidence in their own? How? You have no right to add CA word before you if you do such kind of chats over all social media. That, and what happens is the new coming budding chartered accountants are shattered. They say, sir, should we come in chartered accountancy course or not to come, or should we wait for that? Oh, I say, sir, that was a standing committee report suggested by one of the South Indian, and it had been not even deliberated in the both House of Parliament, and it has, and even if it comes, just tell me, even if it comes, what should be the cost of that particular course? The cost of that particular course will never be less than 40 lakh rupees. Let me tell you. The infrastructure, the resource faculty, the curriculum, the chartered account, the equivalent qualification which they want to produce as their dream project, let me tell you, that is nothing but an endeavor to have set aside thousands of crore rupees for as a budget, as it is IIM and IIA and all that. Whatever they want to do, they can do. Let them come with that particular thing. And if that quality chartered accountant which we are producing through this particular program and the other technical standard, if they can produce it, it's very good. But I have damn suspicion that what would be the capacities of those colleges? What should be the fees of that curriculum? And if it is fees of 40 lakh rupees, why a person will get an equivalent degree in 2 lakhs will going to spend 40 lakhs rupees? And what about the articleship? And what about the licensing technique, which are what an article is getting within, inculcating himself within the articleships? So all these things has to be taken care of and let the thing come on some solid conclusion. It was view of the council that the child has not taken birth and a whole horoscope has been there, and the people were matching the horoscope for his wedding, the son who had not yet born. So why this chaos? Be confident. We are not someone who can be replaced by anyone. We are not at all someone who can be replaced by anyone. Let mark my words. We are not at all someone who can be replaced by anyone. We are chartered accountants and we can be replaced only by a chartered accountant. That's it. None in the whole world. What big firms are they not there in existence since last 70 years? Yes, they are there, but still we are here. It is a phase which I'm listening since 1994. When I joined my chartered accountancy course in 1994, there was a rumor that why you are going for chartered accountancy course, there is nothing left in chartered accountancy course because now the computers are taking over the accounting. In 1998, when I became chartered accountant, again some rumors were there that why now it is nothing to become a chartered accountant because the whole tally has taken over the whole accounting and the trial balance is completely tallied and balance sheet is already prepared. What is remained for chartered accountant? Then suddenly the accounting standards came out. Then people says, no, it is a matter of chartered accountant only. Then income tax. Then after that, some years, they were again saying that there is nothing left in chartered accountancy because faceless assessment is there, income tax returns are computed, computation is computerized, faceless assessment is there, scrutiny has gone, nothing is left for chartered accountant, still the profession is the same. So it's always status quo is never possible in any growing profession. In any growing profession, status quo is not possible. Status quo is a phenomena which I must say it's an illusion. Change is only consistent. And we should witness it. That's it. And we should sharpen our skill. Nobody can replace us. Within these 2 hours lecture, just presume within these 2 hours lecture that can a person sitting in an IIM kind of place can talk like this and can discuss like this. Just compare within these 2 hours that whether anyone has a capacity to talk this much and whether any other person has a capacity to discuss on that particular issue at what level we are discussing. Just experience these 2 hours and get back the whole confidence that we cannot be replaced by anyone. That's my submission to you. And now I'm starting with this statement of peer review. Why we need peer review? Because yesterday, again on WhatsApp University, we found 140 chartered accountants list ROC notice. Again, everybody is talking about that. What's going on? Ministry is after us now. No, sir. Ministry is not after us. We are not before ministry. That's the problem. This peer review is required only to plug in those 140 list. Look, peer review is a process which is always required and it's international. We have international best practice applied not now. We have this international best practice in India since 2008 when peer review board has started this all peer review process. So it's not new. It's with us since long. So peer review means a person of similar standing is going to review another person just to ensure that while discharging the attest function, the practice unit is compliant with all the technical standards. The one-liner objective of peer review I have just given you. The one-liner explanation for peer review is a person of similar standing will come to your office, going to discuss with you, going to check with your process, whether the quality control has been maintained and all the technical standards have been complied with. This is the main object of peer review. Why we need this review? Look, if you come to the cases of misconduct, Honorable Finance Minister raised that particular question in the Parliament, that what ICAI is doing about the disciplinary cases and how many disciplinary cases ICAI has been put in. Let me tell you, in our annual report, if you go and see, you can find more than 250 cases has been dealt by the DC and more than 250 cases has been dealt by BOD by our council itself. One cannot say that we are not taking any disciplinary action. No way. If you want to have one more fairer system, you can implement that, but you cannot blame that you are implementing those systems because our systems were in lacking. If our systems were in lacking, how could 47 chartered accountants could be found culprit in by the DC and some 49 by this, and tell me any and just I want statistics from the government now. Just tell me what kind of disciplinary actions has been taken by Bar Council of India and what kind of disciplinary actions has been taken by Medical Council of India. Just come with those statistics and then tell us that what we are doing. Had there been any case in Medical Council where a doctor has been debarred for lifetime? We have multiple time cases where we have debarred a member for practice for lifetime. Is there any case in Bar Council where they are having debarred a member for lifetime? We have multiple cases. And I'm not talking about CS and CWA. They are different because they have not opposed anything. So they are a different footing. No comments. In our case, we are doing disciplinary action. Otherwise, why I have been here to address you all? Statement on peer review is going to plug in all these lapses. We want to establish quality under the chartered accountants. That's the point. Let me explain you some of the flaws which are coming. There is FRRB. There is FRRB, Financial Report Review Board of ICAI. They handpick certain balance sheets of public companies and then they send it to various chartered accountants that of the team of FRRB members, and they review it that whether the chartered accountants are going in right direction. And then if they find something in that, they can refer that case to DC itself. So institute is not only taking action only on complaint received by government or only on complaint which is received from any ministry. We are so honest that one of our committee is reviewing the financial statement signed by the chartered accountants, and if they found some something non-compliance, they issue notice to him. They can go for this also. So we have a mechanism. Let us first understand the mechanism. Come to our institute, find out what we are doing, and then give such kind of statement that what we are doing. We are self-complaint self-compliant people. Honorable Minister said to us that IFAC, International Federation of Accountants, ICAI should comply with the IFAC norms. Sir, IFAC had given a certificate that we are 100% compliant. We are 100% compliant in everything. 5% members may be erring members. You can find in any profession, 5 to 10% are erring, 2-3% are dishonest. But you cannot blame the whole fraternity for those 2%, 3%, or 5% people. Why we are sitting here, 108 people sitting here to understand the peer review process. And these 108 persons will go to another chartered accountant and check whether he is doing the same. Do you have this process in medical profession that one doctor is going to another doctor's cabin and asking that what precautions you have taken while what prescriptions you are giving, how you are scanning, how you are doing that? Nobody is doing. Is there any advocate going to another advocate's office and getting that evaluated, that whether that advocate is following the best practices or not? But we are ourselves responsible for this particular thing because we do not project ourselves in a positive manner. Had any WhatsApp group came out with these positive things? No. Why not? Why not we ourselves come with a positive note that we are the best? What kind of best practices we have? Do any institute has mandatory CPRs? Tell me. We are having CPRs, international best practice. We have peer review, international best practice. We have FRRB. We have FRRB, international best practice. We have quality, we can face quality review board. We can face NAFRA. We have auditing and assurance standard board. We have accounting, auditing and assurance standard board. Tell me one institute which is developing its own standards. Every other institute is having international standards. We have accounting research board. What we don't have, but we fail to project all these things because we always are auditing ourselves and finding our own queries. I think हमारा audit इतना हमारे दिल पे हावी हो गया है कि हम हमारे प्रोफेशन के ऑडिट करते रहते और प्रोफेशन की क्वेरी लिस्ट ही व्हाट्सएप पे चलाते रहते। तो ये तो गलत है। हाँ, हमारे प्रोफेशन की खूबियां तो व्हाट्सएप पे आती नहीं है, हमारे प्रोफेशन की सारी कमियां जो पूरी सुबह से व्हाट्सएप पे चालू हो जाती। So we should refrain ourselves from doing that. Then only the things will come to a shape where we can talk on this particular thing. Now, erring members. Coming to erring members. Errors can be there. Non-compliance can be there. Misconducts can be there. In my whole career of as a trainer, as a peer reviewer, or as a trainer to ethical standard board, or the trainer to INDAS board, INDAS committee, I always found that there are only 3 things which make a member work miserable. That is what? One is that the professional decision which we take, whether that particular professional decision is first need or it is out of greed. If our professional decision is out of need, it is never going to become any misconduct. It will never going to become any kind of non-compliance. But if we accepted an audit engagement or assurance engagement out of greed, then definitely it is going to be a problem. For example, if a client comes to us on last day of filing return, or tax audit, 80%, let me quote it, 80% chartered accountant will not dare to refuse that client that please आप जाइए, अब आपका काम नहीं होगा, नहीं होगा, नहीं हो पाएगा, हम नहीं मना कर सकते। अब उसके पीछे के कारण है क्या, ये मेरा पहला क्लाइंट हो, एन इमोशनल अटैचमेंट इज विद द क्लाइंट, ये मेरा पहला क्लाइंट है, मैं इसको मना नहीं कर सकता। दूसरा, मैंने मना कर दिया तो ये किसी ना किसी से तो काम करवाएगा, तो अब जब कोई और काम करके कमाएगा तो मैं ही क्यों ना कमा लूं। तो एक जो था वो इमोशनल क्वोशंट था और एक जो है वो मॉनेटरी। सो आइदर आई एम डूइंग इट आउट ऑफ ग्रीड और आई एम डूइंग इट out of casual approach, or I am doing it out of irrational decision making. It is not rational decision making that if he is your first client or is your longest duration client, so you have to serve him always because he comes always on last date and behaves like a king. That I have made this chartered accountant, and he says to our आर्टिकल्स ऑल्सो, ये तुम्हारे बॉस जो थे हमारे सामने को इन्होंने प्रैक्टिस चालू की, मतलब वो क्लाइंट ऐसा होता है कि वो हमारे आर्टिकल को हमारी सारी बात बता के जाता है और हम उसके लिए बोलते हैं कि देयर इज अ पॉइंट। सो दैट्स व्हाई आई एम नॉट going in Hindi because non-Hindi speaking people are also here. That's why I'm speaking always in English. I know. So now important is when we are talking about the statement on peer review. So we have to take care of all these things. The quality control system of a firm starts from accepting the client. Can we accept the assignment? It starts from there. And this statement on peer review is based on these things also, that the peer who will come to you will going to inspect from this point how you accept the assignment. Standard on auditing 210, Council General Guidelines means code of ethics at one place. So if a client comes to me, first point, should I accept it or not? First thing, should I have KYC of this client? Yes, I did KYC. Fine. Second, ask the predecessor, communicate to the predecessor at the last available email address or send it by registered post. Do he has any reason? Does he has any reason for me not to accept the assignment? Let his communication should come to me. Or if there is assignment kind of bank audit, I can give conditional acceptance according to the new norms of code of ethics. I can give conditional acceptance. Yes, that is a conditional acceptance that I'm accepting this assignment, but subject to no objection from the predecessor. If the predecessor had raised a valid objection, I will give your assignment. So that conditional acceptance can also be given. Third, if you are appointed as a company, then you need to check compliance with section 139, 140 and 141 of the Companies Act. Why I'm being appointed? Was there any rotation? Or is there any casual vacancy? Or is there any removal of the auditor? If the auditor has been removed, he has been removed according to section 140 subsection 1 or 140 subsection 4. If he had been removed by section 140 subsection 1, then I have to verify the ADT2. So all the things, these are all technical compliances which starts from the accepting the audit. Then in between comes accounting standards on auditing 200. It says whether your ethical requirements are compliant. Are you independent? Do you have any self-review threat? Do you have any self-interest threat? Do you have any advocacy threat, or do you have those 6 type of threats, 5 type of threats you have? So the whole quality control process starts from accepting the appointment, and peer reviewers start from there. He starts from there. Then he goes further. Okay, they have accepted the assignment. Second, in the acceptance of assignment also, there is one point, whether the firm in itself is competent to accept such an assignment. What kind of prior experience this firm has. That's very important. If you are accepting an audit of a listed entity, and in case of that listed entity, if a proprietor is accepting the audit who had never done a private limited company audit, and he certainly got the audit of listed entity, he cannot. Normally he cannot, but if suppose a firm who have never entered into such kind of assignments, and suddenly a listed entity assignment is there, which is of software giant. So if a software giant is coming to audit and you don't know about ERP, you don't know about the Oracle, you don't know about the other their systems and procedure, your articles are not trained, your assistants are not trained for that, you cannot outsource your audit. So how are you going to accept that? Again, that comes to quality control, where the quality control SQC1 comes and says that, do you have any competence to accept this particular assignment? A peer reviewer again will going to check on the point whether the firm has any quality control policy before accepting the assignment. Why peer review? We are talking about that. We are talking about this only. This is the reason why peer review, so that a particular firm should not accept the assurance engagement unless and until they have not come through this whole checklist. Then comes standard on audit 210, audit engagement letter. Let us have a common understanding between the auditor and auditee, and that common understanding of the auditor and auditee will be in form of audit engagement letter, which will be issued by the auditor. So in that particular case, audit engagement letter is going to be verified by the peer reviewer, that whether the firm has a practice of issuing the audit engagement letter, and whether that particular audit engagement letter contains all such parameters which are given under SF 210. Before that, if you go to audit engagement letter under SS 210, before that you have to verify what is the financial reporting framework of the entity. If the entity is NBFC, it has a different financial reporting framework. If the entity is bank, it has different financial reporting framework. If it is company, it has different financial reporting framework. So under standard auditing 200, auditor first assures himself that whether the management of the entity has knowledge about this particular point, financial reporting framework. Then he get in writing acknowledgement from board, those charged with governance, that they have knowledge of FRF, they are going to prepare the financial statement as per financial reporting framework, and they will give unconditional access to the auditor. They're going to give unconditional access to the auditor, and they'll give unconditional access to records, access to people, and they will going to give auditor all the information in future, whatever required by the auditor. And that's called preconditions to an audit. The peer reviewer has to first check whether at the time of appointment, These all parameters have been verified before acceptance or otherwise there will be misconduct. If an audit firm has not given predecessor in intimation, that would be a misconduct. If an audit firm did not check whether its appointment is in accordance with section 139, 140, 141, it will be misconduct under clause number 9 of the part first of the first schedule to section 22 of the Chartered Accountants Act 1949. Very clear. So the misconducts, the error starts itself from accepting the appointment. Now, the things are coming. Right now, during bank audit, my whole phone is full of messages. Sir, can I accept the audit? I was concurrent auditor of a branch and now I am going to, I have been appointed by that particular bank. So I said, when you have in the concurrent auditor of a branch, how can you accept the audit? They say, sir, they are saying that you just conduct audit of LFAR. I said, yes, you can conduct audit of LFAR, but there must not be any statutory audit of that particular branch. Then only you can conduct audit of that LFAR, otherwise not. So concurrent auditor cannot become statutory auditor because of self-review threats of independence. So it starts from appointment itself. As a 200 overall objectives of the independent auditor and conduct of audit in accordance with standards on auditing. It requires that the auditor is having all ethical requirements. Standard on auditing 210, it says that what is SA 210, it is agreeing the terms of audit engagement. Before accepting the audit engagement, auditor should establish that there is a preconditions to an audit and there is a valid agreement between auditor and auditee over the common understanding of the audit. That requires 210. So 200 and 210 were there. Then comes, let's proceed for audit. So let's plan.
बड़ी खबर सामने है कि अमेरिका ने द कश्मीर फाइल्स फिल्म की पूरी टीम को सम्मानित किया है। ओयो सीनेट ने अमेरिका की ओयो सीनेट ने इस
So now कुछ अच्छी बात हो रही थी, सम्मान की. So let's start again. In the case, if we go to yeah, let's move. When we are going to planning as a practice unit, they are going for planning. Planning cannot be executed unless and until we have knowledge of client's business. Many a times in my cabin, I used to call articles who are performing audit. And I simply put a task before them. Just explain me about the entity you are auditing for 10 minutes. Tell me something about the company you are auditing for at least 10 minutes. What is its turnover? What is export turnover? What is domestic turnover? What are the key financial ratios? What is the previous year's performance and this year's performance? Who are the competitors of this particular entity? Then I start talking about who are the management, who are those charged with governance, who are the related parties of this, and what kind of laws and regulation this particular entity over which this particular entity is applicable. So if you ask question from your article who is going for audit, if he failed to explain anything, he's doing nothing rather than vouching. He goes at 10:30. He gets up at 5:30, doing whatever his seniors are saying without having anything in his mind about the company. And if this kind of audit is there, so that is not audit. That is assistance to the accountant of the entity. Entity prepares financial statement. They will get it vouched by the article. They will come before you, sir, your article have vouched everything. What we have written in the books, we have got him vouched for that. Now that article did not apply any damn rational over there. Whether the things which are in the financial statement are there, then why they are there? Tell me what's happening. 3 junior articles, along with 2 senior articles, along with 1 engagement partner. And that 1 engagement partner is also busy with 5 audits because he has to finish those 5-6 audits. Now, what these articles are doing? Those 2 articles are in CA final. They are more worried about their papers rather than about the client. And those 4 juniors, they were very enthusiastic. Whatever work given by the accountant, they'll give. And the accountants are very shrewd. They know that these 4 are junior and these 2 are senior. These 2 needs leave and these 4 want work. So he satisfied needs of both the persons. He will say to them, yaar, tum itna load mat lo, don't take this much pains. Prepare for your study, focus for that. And he will use your 4 assistants as his assistants to get it vouched, whatever written. And then he will tally every figure before them. And then those juniors will say to seniors, sir, we have tallied the whole trial balance, whole balance sheet, everything. Just come and check out certain journal vouchers. He will check the journal vouchers. All the ratios are maintained. Everything is over. Balance sheet finally came to the boss's cabin. Boss said to final article, everything is okay. Sir, everything okay. Should I sign it? Sir, you should sign it. Any problem, you will be responsible. Sir, I will be responsible. Just give me leave. I just want to go. This is not audit. It was never an audit. It was just an assistance to the accountant. Now the peer reviewer will come and call for the audit plan. Before audit plan, he called for the study of the business and its environment. It is clearly given under standard on auditing 315 that what auditor is required to have. I cannot even turn out 1 page of this statement on peer review, sir. Till my talk is not over, I cannot even turn 1 page. Because the whole peer review statement is everyone. It's 40-page statement. Anybody can read out this. My people in peer review, I asked them that whatever presentation you have, just give me. And then when I saw the presentation, I found that it's better to talk in such a manner that everybody can understand the whole statement on peer review. This is all what I'm talking is all about peer review statement itself. So now the peer reviewer is going to have, where is your permanent nature audit file of this particular client? Now, permanent nature audit file of this client should have permanent documents. Do you have verified the articles of associations, amendments, if any, during the year? Do you have a question in your audit program that your article should verify any changes in memorandum and article of association which is there in the permanent nature audit file? Second, is there any change in business, whether the business has been diversified, whether the business has been curtailed, whether the business has been Some of the wings have been shut down, some of the wings have been expanded. What happened in last 1 year? Third, what about the list of laws and regulations applicable to this entity? And what are the various laws and regulations which are directly affecting the financial statement? And what are the other laws and regulations which are affecting the financial statement? Indirectly. Who are the related party? Who are its subsidiaries? Which are its holding? Which is its holding? Who are its subsidiary? Who are the associates? Who are the joint ventures? Who are the major shareholders? What are the ratios? Comparison between current year's ratio and previous year's ratio? Any deviation in the ratios? Starting everything. Writing in one page. Updating the information. Permanent nature audit file. Now a question arises. Sir, whether it will be there when we go for the peer review? Yes, boss, it will be there. You will witness the firms maintaining all this. Peer review process is becoming a reviewer doesn't mean that I have mastered everything. You are also in process of learning. That it's a kind of a mutual development. The peer reviewer himself gets some insights when he goes to for practice unit to review that. So it's a learning process, boss. We go and we learn what good practices that firm have. Then we make him learn what good practices we have and he doesn't. So it's a mutual development of the profession for that peer review is there. So in that permanent nature audit file, we need to evaluate everything. After evaluating this whole, the most crucial thing which comes is the risk assessment, where I am telling you 65% entities are not evaluating the risk. I'm saying 65% of audit firms are failing to document this whole risk analysis, which is given in SA 315 itself. That is called risk assessment. What is audit risk? Risk that as an auditor, I will issue an inappropriate opinion while the financial statements are misstated. Despite the financial statement are misstated, I failed to give appropriate opinion. Now, we all know that whenever the financial statements are misstated, either I may give qualified opinion or I may give adverse opinion. And if there are restrictions on my scope, I can give disclaimer of opinion or qualified opinion as the case may be. But audit risk says that if there are misstatement in financial statement and you are not able to detect that, that is called audit risk. And this audit risk consists of two factors. One is known as risk of material misstatement. One is known as detection risk. What is risk of material misstatement? Before even starting the audit, if I feel that financial statement may be misstated, it would be said as risk of misstatement. How before commencing the audit, I can say that financial statement may be misstated. This is because of two things. One is called inherent risk and one is called detection risk. you might be surprised to know that in usual audits, we may not be doing all these things which I'm talking about. Then there may be some persons that may be foreign words which I'm talking about. But unfortunately, we don't know that we did it in our bank records. Be it is a Ghosh committee's report, be it is Jilani committee's report, with that Ghosh and Jilani statement and whatever we are filling there, they were the risk assessments. Even in that LFAR, we are finding something we are filling. Those are also known as what? So we have that, but we are doing that, but we don't know that this we are doing. Look, if being a practice unit, I have been appointed as auditor of a fertilizer outlet or auditor of a soya oil industry. Now, the inherent risk. Inherent risk is nothing, but if you go to inherent risk definition, you will be, it is quite difficult to understand that definition, because those European sentences without any comma, they are very problematic. What is inherent risk? If you go for the definition of inherent risk, you will find inherent risk means susceptibility of an assertion about account balance, class of transaction, or disclosure towards misstatement, which may be either materially misstated or misstated in a group when we are considering that there is no internal control. If you read those statements, you will come to know ICAI. What is this? Very simple. Inherent risk means when you are going for an audit in an entity, just presume if there is no internal control, what is going to happen? The imagination that if the auditee doesn't apply internal control procedure, what is the list of misstatement we can find in that particular audit assignment? So that list, which shows us that if there is no internal control, these all could happen, is known as inherent risk. Then we sit with the management with that particular list, that if there is no internal control, you can have these frauds. Just tell me one by one how you are applying the internal controls over there. Management will correlate every control with your problem. If it is addressed, the risk has been addressed. If it is not addressed, that means there is a lack of internal control in that particular fraud. It means it's a red flag. It means we need to apply more and more audit procedure into that particular area to get more and more sufficient and appropriate audit evidence to conclude upon. So it is very important always to have what? Always to have the particular point. Yes. So when we are talking about this all, inherent risk means risk without control. And then we have to talk with management of the entity. Management will correlate that you have shown that this fraud could happen. See, we have this control against it. So this control will mitigate the chances of fraud. This control will mitigate the chances of fraud. This control will going to mitigate the chances of fraud. So they are listening out. So we are crossing everything. It means that risk has been responded by the management. And the unresponded risk is known as risk of material misstatement. And that risk of material misstatement has to be addressed by our audit procedures. And here comes the third risk. And the third risk is known as detection risk. Detection risk means auditor has applied his all procedures. Auditor had applied his all procedures. And after applying all such procedures, there will be still some chances that some of the material misstatement may remain undiscovered by the auditor. So what is detection risk? Detection risk is nothing but a risk that auditor will fail to identify the fraud, discover the fraud, even if he applied the audit procedure. So if I applied more extensive audit procedure, there will be less chances that I'm fail to discover something. So I can reduce my detection risk by extending my audit procedure. Now see how the mechanism is working. This whole mechanism is working like this. That for example, if I'm going for, suppose I'm talking about cash sales. For example, I'm talking about cash sales. In this whole system, there are 10,000 or suppose 1 lakh. 1 lakh cash sales receipts have been entered in the system. By taking the nature of cash sales, I said, boss, if you do not have internal control, at least out of these 10 lakh vouchers of 1,000 rupees each, some retail kind of shop is there. So let's have a reasonable figure, 1 lakh vouchers of 100 rupees each. So there is 100 lakhs cash sales. I'm saying, sir, 40% chances are there that if there is no misstatement, 40 lakhs will be a fraud. So that 40% is known as inherent risk. This 40% is known as inherent risk, that if we presume that there is no internal control, 40% sales will be misstated or taken out of books. Then we asked management, do you have any internal control? They say, sir, we have a very robust internal control at our place over the cash sales. Cash receipts are pre-numbered, cash sales are pre-approved, cash sales have been limited to this much point. So whenever these transactions will come to us, our internal control is going to mitigate them. Then we will check whether their internal control system is going to check all these things. Then we found that 80% their internal control is okay, but 20% there are still chances that their internal control could not find these kind of frauds. So I would say, sir, 40% was your inherent risk and 20% is your control risk. So inherent risk multiplied by control risk is equal to risk of material misstatement. It means 8% chances are there that there will be misstatement. It means out of 1 crore, 8%, it means 8 lakh rupees misstatement will still be there even you have proper internal control. So now to plug in these 8%, I will say that your risk of material misstatement is 8%. Then surely the client is going to ask me, sir, what about your audit procedure? When you apply audit procedure over these 8%, these transactions, where how many of these misstatements you will be identifying while you are applying your audit procedure. Give me the assessment of that. No, client is not asking. I'm asking to myself, out of these 8 lakh rupees, as 1 crore cash sale is there, 8 lakh is misstatement for cash sales. Out of these 8 lakhs, how much I'm going to address? I say, look into time, look into resources, look into my sample size, look into number of vouchers I can see. I can say 60% I can detect, but 40% I have chances that I cannot detect. No worries. It means 1.2 lakh rupees may be such amount of cash sales which could be misstated, which could remain in financial statement even if the audit had been done diligently. Even if the audit had been complied with all the technical standards, still there are 1.2 lakh misstatement may remain undiscovered. And that's 1.2 lakh is known as audit risk. Then I will say, what is the size of the P&L? Somebody came and said me, sir, the net profit for the year is 256 crores. I will say, finally, out of 256 crores, who is going to bother about 1.2 lakhs? Fine. The audit procedure is over relating to cash sales, because I have, and whenever, if there is a fraud found out, then definitely somebody is going to ask us what the auditor was doing. See, whenever a fraud is there, whether it is ILLFS and whether it is Satyam, both have been sounded very good at that day in the parliament, that there were frauds in Satyam, there were frauds in ILNFS. Just tell me the size of the ILNFS and size of the Satyam. Now tell me, if in case of Satyam, if I quote, if a managing director obtains a direct access of producing direct invoices, and he produced 4,740 invoices, fake invoices, and those invoices have been discounted and collected in foreign banks, what you can expect an auditor? He is not an official investigator. Where are lapses? We would see the lapses, no? Lapses are going to be checked technically, whether the auditor of ILNFS, whether the auditor of Satyam has gone through this extent to every transaction. I have taken this cash sale, then the same thing will be repeated with the purchases, the same thing will be repeated. At what extent they went? Now a question is coming to your mind, that boss, whatever you are telling, if we are going to apply all these in financial every audit, what would be the time and resources we need to have? Yes, sir, you need to put your resources and time. Then only you will come to a conclusion that what kind of fees we should charge. Now do all these things and quote a fees of 15,000 for a company. Quote a fees of 15,000 for a company. You cannot. If we bypass all these things and we are relying on the articles and what kind of audit I have just shown you, they are going with that audit. So that is not an audit, no. Audit is this. So systematically you are doing for everything. And mind it very carefully. Your efficiency will increase when you are applying the technical standards. If you go arbitrarily, how you can prove yourself? They will ask, what is your basis of leaving the transactions? You left these much transactions unaudited. What is your basis? I would say, sir, I have assessed in an interest. I have assessed control risk. I have assessed risk of material misstatement on the basis of which I have designed my audit procedure, and I have brought my overall audit risk to this particular level, 3.2%. Sorry, I read 1.2, 3.2%. My overall audit risk is 3.2%. That's why then no court will deny this fact, and no court will go against auditor if he proves that he applied this full procedure. Why we found guilty always? Because we failed to prove what was the basis for our. So wherever you are going for peer review, this particular thing is very important. This is covered by standard on auditing 300, 315, 330, 320, and 330. Is all covered by these auditing standards. So we need to check this whole process, how he planned, how he performed, how he programmed, whether the programming is there, whether the checklists were there, whether the supervision, control, and review over the article clerks were there, and the article staff were there, and the engagement partner was there. This all we need to get. So now the point is, I am planning the audit. So as a firm, I have planned the audit and you have verified that particular audit. No problem in that. Then comes the program is over. Then the checklist is there. Then what we have to do? Those who are going first time to peer review, let me tell you, you have to send a list of, they will send you, practice unit will send you a list that these are our client. You have to select 5 or 6 files for the sample. In those files, you have to check whatever I have explained in a documentary format. Was there any knowledge of client's business? Was there any assessment of inherent risk? Was there any assessment of control risk? Was there any assessment of detection risk? How the audit procedure have been planned and performed? How the documentation has been done? Documentation of everything. And then when applied the audit procedure, when you are applying these detection risk, when you are going to reduce it and getting it lower at 40%, whatever procedure you have applied there, what procedure have had produced audit evidences. So in those files, we have to check the audit evidences. Those files, we have to check the audit evidence, we have to check the working papers. And then we will come to a conclusion that how the entity had come to conclude it. This is how we have to look at a practice unit. So this is significance of peer review. When I'll start reviewing a particular entity from its planning stage to its reporting stage, whether they have complied with all the technical standards or not, it would be treated as what? Peer review. And the whole quality will come out as peer review. I'm just taking a 1 minute break. Just I'm going out of the screen just for a moment of having a technical standard with me and some technical problem which I'm addressing. I'm just going off for 1 minute, 1.5 minutes or so. Now, important is, what is the peer review process? Just let's go by this one. Correct? What I mean. So, just a minute. It's getting loaded, I think. Into this content. It was there and I started the program. It's shown on my other computer. What happened to this? Just a minute. Oh, no problem. So let's have this. On site, there is a problem. Let me give you the other way around. Just now, what exactly the statement on peer review? If you go to process of peer review, what will be the process? Let me tell you. So peer review process will start with the appointment of peer reviewer. What will be the eligibility? to become a peer reviewer. So the first eligibility which is required there for a peer reviewer, is there anyone in the audience from peer review board? If you have, please kindly mail me this statement on peer review, because it's not opening here. Kindly mail me that peer review statement so that I can open it. If it is not, then there's no point. I have one more copy with me, peer review. That's why I got that particular copy. So peer reviewer, who will be treated as a peer reviewer? A person who is member in practice for at least 7 years of audit experience. And if member is moved from industry to practice, he should have at least 10 years of audit experience in industry and 3 years of experience of practice. Then, if that particular person should have undergone requisite training and cleared the requisite test for peer review, for which this particular batch is conducted. Now, peer reviewer has to furnish a declaration just prescribed by the board at the time of empanelment of a peer reviewer. I'm sure you all have done. A declaration of confidentiality as per the Annex A to this particular statement is also required. Then, a member will not be eligible to be appointed as a peer reviewer if any disciplinary action or proceeding is pending against him. Even a disciplinary proceeding is pending, he will not be able to appointed as a peer reviewer. Then, important is that if you have been convicted, or if you have been debarred from practice, or if his partner has any obligation or conflict of interest in the practice unit, if he or his partner has any conflict of interest, that independence is there in practice unit. I cannot audit my brother's practice unit. He has undergone training or articleship under the partner or practice unit. I cannot audit my boss's office where I had my all articleship training or whatever. Fine. Which are units which are subject to review? So it comes to level 1. A practice unit which has undertaken any of the under-mentioned assurance service in period under review shall be treated as level 1. ऐसी practice units जिन्होंने under mentioned ले रखे हैं, for example आपने statutory audit ले रखे हैं, central audit of bank insurance company है, statutory audit of central or state public sector and PSUs है, या central cooperative societies and जिनका turnover more than 250 crores है, but not net worth, or not net worth is exceeding 5 crores है, or statutory audit of asset management company, or statutory audit of entities which are listed entities, statutory audit of any body, corporate or trust which are covered under public interest entity, PIE, that is also their public interest entity. Then statutory audit of body corporates, trust and all. So if you go to this peer review statement, you will find level 1 entity, then you will get level 2 entity. In case of level 2 entity, statutory, internal, concurrent system, tax and other department and branches and offices of PSU and all. So all these practice units are there. I am not interested in that because that's a simple way of thinking. Now, what process reviewer will going to apply? So the peer reviewer framework is, you have to select, सबसे पहले the peer review board, first of all, peer review board has to select the practice unit and appoint the reviewer. And then the reviewer will have planning, then execution, then reporting. So you have 3 stages. The first stage is planning, second stage is execution, third stage is reporting. Peer review board will select the practice unit. After selecting the practice unit, which has been selected for peer review, detailed declaration come questionnaire in form of approved by the board shall be submitted by the practice unit within 7 days from the date of practice unit has been notified by the board so that reviewer allot them for a panel of 3 reviewers can be identified by the board as per the declaration cum questionnaire submitted by practice unit. So practice unit is going to submit a declaration cum questionnaire in which they will in which they can give 3 names of the out of the panel of the peer reviewers, and then peer reviewer will be selected. No problem in that. The peer reviewer will get selected. So that would be there. Name of the 3 reviewers shall be recommended by the board to the practice unit so selected, and then practice unit shall select one of the 3 reviewers out of them, and then board shall intimate the reviewer who is selected to seek his consent within 7 days. And when you have given consent, your peer review starts. Now, planning stage. Whenever it is intimated by board of the reviewer's consent, जैसे ही reviewer ने consent दी, the practice unit within 2 days provided the copy of completely filled up questionnaire earlier submitted with board to the reviewer, along with whatever questionnaire they have submitted. That questionnaire will come to you, might be that is with you. Details of proceeding against a practice unit or any of the partner or qualified assistant taken by regulatory monitoring authority. That is another point. वो अगर है तो हमको लेना ही नहीं है assignment. Okay. Information to be furnished by peer review board. The peer review board shall call for relevant information from Student Directorate and may share the concerned detail of peer reviewer, which shall form the part of peer review. So the reviewing unit, the practice unit, it will be informed with complete Student Directorate that what is the, who is the peer reviewer, who is coming as like that. Now, what we have to do? Now starts selection of sample. The reviewer shall within 7 days of receiving the information from the practice unit select the sample of assurance service that he would like to review. You have to select within 7 days of receiving the information from practice unit sample of assurance service which you would like to review, and intimate that practice unit and the peer review board that you are selecting a sample of assurance service. The reviewer may also seek further additional clarification from practicing unit on the information furnished or not furnished as mentioned above clause. Then the reviewer shall plan for an on-site review. There is on-site review also, offline review also. Guidelines for offline reviews are also given. This was on-site review I'm talking about. Whenever you are going for on-site review, visit the initial meeting in consultation with practice unit. The reviewer shall give the practice unit at least 5 days time to keep ready the necessary records of the selected assurance services. You can go on-site review and you can select the and give them 5 days to keep ready the necessary records. The reviewer and practice unit shall mutually cooperate and ensure that the entire review process is completed within 60 days from the date of notifying the practice unit about its selection for peer review. Those 60 days starts from the day when practice unit has been intimated that you are under peer review. Within 60 days, the whole peer review process has to be completed. Now, how to execute? You have to visit. Peer review visit will be conducted at practice unit's head office and or branches or any other location. On-site review should not be extended beyond 7 working days based on the size of the practice unit. Maximum on-site review will not create a disturbance for more than 7 days. That's the whole point which has been taken care of. Now, important is one link I think came to me. Okay. Now, compliance with general control. What I have suggested you previously, now it starts. Whether the practice unit is maintaining the independence, whether the practice unit maintains the professional skill and standards. Now, professional skills maintenance, how would you check? Definitely, we are going and ask the practicing unit to show how many in-office updation meetings they had and how many CPRs their partners have attended. So that record will be available. What about the in-house meetings? There are offices in which weekly meetings are there, where the senior articles and articles are participated and debating on issues, so that their skill is completely updated. So we have to see they are recorded. Now, just a minute. Material is uploaded here. Okay, I'm taking care of. Okay, I have some query also. Just a minute. You can go with material which is uploaded in the chat box link. I even can't upload it because of some technical issues. Why it happened, I don't know. I think some security measures has been taken by ICAI, but it was opening. Now it is not getting. Why it is so? Let's go Google again. It may possible some bug arises. Again, nothing is coming. Now, आप लोगों के पास मटेरियल आ गया है. I am on page number. I am talking on page number 18 with this material. Now, no problem. I can talk on this. Important is independence. We have to check. Maintenance of professional skill and standard. Whether the firm has a practice of outside consultation. This quality control has to be there in their policy manual. Their quality control policy must be there. What are the firms for outside consultancy? If they have some legal matter, who is the firm? What is its experience? Where they are getting the second opinion? Sometimes some second opinions are also needed. So do they have any backup system for their outside consultancy? That we need to check. How they recruit the staff, how they supervise the staff, how they develop the staff, how they are administering the office. So we need to check these general controls over there. Compliance review, and that is called general controls. Then the number of assurance service engagement to be reviewed. मैं कितने नंबर में सर्विस मैं सैंपल सिलेक्ट करूं, तो मैं कितने सैंपल सिलेक्ट करूं? How much sample should I select? So can you tell me, some of the peer reviewers may be there who have reviewed last year also, how many files you have identified for the sake of practice? 10% from each category. That is the standard that we can have. Each category, we can have 10%. So category means, let us understand the category. What would be the category? Now, there is a list of category you have, and according to that list, we can have 10% from each category. A to L, the complete list is with you, A to L. Out of that, 10% from each category you can select. So the standard quality control generally prevails. The size and nature of assurance service engagement undertaken by practice unit. Now, important is normally we have this 10% criteria. Generally, we have to select that particular unit. Now, what we have to check in this? For example, we have assurance client. In assurance client, we have selected 5 or 10. They are doing 20 company audits, 20 tax audits, 40 tax audit, whatever. So we have to select the 5. When we select that particular 5, what we have to review in that particular 5? First, compliance approach. And that compliance approach means how they have accepted the client, how they have planned their audit, how they have reviewed the internal control, which I have explained, how they have assessed the audit risk, which I have explained, what kind of their own audit substantive procedures they have applied. Substantive procedures means those tests where we were reducing our detection risk. So that is called substantive test, which we have applied. Then how the financial statement presentation and disclosure was there. Then what were the conclusion over their reporting and how they report. So we have to consider in each sample whether the audit was accepted properly, whether the audit was planned properly, whether the audit risk has been assessed properly, whether the response to assess risk has been given properly, and how these services which are there in case of audit assurance. So what kind of substantive procedures you have applied to reduce your audit risk, what financial statement presentation were there. So these all has to be checked by the peer review. In case of assurance engagement, you need to check out that. Now, checking out that, we have complete set which is given by the peer review board, whether it is what size of sample is required, 10% from each category, minimum sample size is 10. Then after having that particular selection of sample, what kind of questionnaires we have to answer. So all those questionnaires were there. Now what peer reviewer report shall state? I have applied all procedure, I have concluded as a peer reviewer. Now how should I report? And what should I report? The peer reviewer report, first of all, shall properly. Is this material provided in email or by post? It will be provided. It is given in the site itself. It is my software which is not opening it. There is a proper format which is prescribed by the board. Everything is prescribed by the peer review board. If you need to go through it, I'm giving the overview of that. So the peer review board had prescribed everything. You don't worry about that. They have meticulously drafted books. Since 2008, we have all books updated, all literature updated with us. So the peer review report shall state that the system of quality control for the assurance service of practice unit, how is it? You have evaluated the quality control review and what you found. There is a link which is given in the chat box by Harsh Bhai, and that particular link you can click and get all materials. You can refer the entire procedure. You can have entire procedure which I'm telling you, and you can review the whole procedure as well. Let me give you. I will share the screen from here itself. They have given, just a minute, I'm sharing the screen with you. Look at here. What is given? See, everything is given on this link. This is declaration from practice unit. This is declaration come acceptance signed by the peer reviewer. Illustrative time schedule. They have given everything. What will be the time schedule? Questionnaire for practice unit. Model final report. Annexure 1 final report. Annexure 2 to final report. Sample selection criteria and cost of peer review. They have given meticulously drafted everything. You have to go to this particular link and check it out. Let me introduce you the things. Now, illustrative time schedule. Look at this. What is going on? Peer review board notifies. What I have said is given here. Peer review board has to notify the entity. They have notified the entity that your practice unit has been selected. Counting starts after receipt of the document. The board selects the panel of 3 reviewers within 2 days. The board seeks acceptance from the reviewer for the undertaking of peer review of practice unit within 2 days. After receiving the confirmation from their 3 reviewers, a panel of reviewer is sent to PU along with a questionnaire and statement within 1 day. PU has to give choice of the reviewer within 2 days. Cumulative days are 7 within 3 days. So this whole day list is given to you. Don't worry about. They have given everything in black and white. Nothing is required to be. Just a minute. Everything they have given. So, important is that when we are talking about, just a minute, I'm sharing screen again. Just now. Now, questionnaire for practice unit. Practice unit will give you a complete questionnaire. In that questionnaire, they have filled everything which I have just discussed with you. I'm giving you the idea what I have discussed with you, the whole procedure. They have to fill in the form, the whole questionnaire. That questionnaire will be there. They'll give the details of there, and then control procedure, gross receipts, PU, and then the whole questionnaire is there. Look at this. They will fill the whole questionnaire. That these are the entities legal, these are the general controls. Yeah. Quality control manual in place. Whom has the insurer, who is responsible, who is the quality control leader of the firm, who is ultimately responsible for that. So all these questions they have given, and on the basis of these questions, we have to go for that. See, the first thing is about an ethical requirement. What I said is SA 200. This is called SA 200. This questionnaire is ethical requirements of ICAI. All ethical requirements said and done. Then acceptance and continuance, SA 210. Should I accept and continue with the assignment? So this is all questionnaire with essay 210. Then I have explained you human resources. So human resources is one of the quality control pillars, that how you recruit, how you train, how you develop them, and how you test them, and then how you select for the practice unit. So all these things with human resources are there. There are 5 pillars of the quality control they have to take care of. Then comes the engagement performance, which I was talking about. Asset 300, asset 315, asset 320, asset 330, and the whole 500 series, whether they have been complied with that, along with the laws and regulations which are there, the whole questionnaire complying with all those things. See, these risk questions are there, what I was talking about. See this, certain class of engagement, risk in the engagement required by law and regulation, all the documents, all the questionnaire they have given with that, and then how the entity is monitoring that its assistance and engagement performing assistance are there or not. So this whole is known as the questionnaire. After that questionnaire, they have given model final report, how the peer reviewer will give report. So this is the model final report that I have reviewed. I have reviewed this. Objective is okay. Limitations, if you have received any limitations during your peer review, then you have to give this limitation, and then the opinion will be there, that in your opinion, whether the system of quality control for assurance service is there or not. Now, very important question which arises: should I now? ICAI PRB said complete manuscript is there. Okay, so that manuscript can be there. Now, important is, when we are talking about this whole process of peer review, an attitude of reviewer should be of a peer, should not be of an auditor. Peer means person of similar understanding. As you are reviewer, you are not someone superior. It's not superior review. It's peer review. It's a mutual learning process, I must tell you. Though we are a reviewer, but we learn something out of that practice unit also. And we give best practice of ours to that particular practice unit also. So it's a mutual understanding process. Now, Narayan Bhai, you are asking a very good question, that the questionnaire made in lucid manner. But while the peer review, the reviewer is not getting the satisfactory document, even if big firms. So whatever you are getting, whatever you are not getting, you have to mention it. Some other procedures may be implemented for ensuring the quality. See, you cannot go beyond SQC1. We cannot have alternative quality policies. Alternatives are given under SQC1 only. For example, in a proprietorship concern, we do not have the under quality control, we need to have a see, whenever I am signing the audit report, so I should have a signing partner. I must have a review partner. One is engagement partner who is signing the financial statement. One is review partner. Now, if in a proprietorship concern I don't have a review partner, what I should like? So I can have external quality control reviewer. I can have an associate firm where, but it cannot be said that as a proprietorship concern, there cannot be a concept of review partner. Alternatives have been given, and they have been given under SQC1 itself. So all the alternatives they have given under SQC1 itself. So we cannot go beyond SQC1. So I think now it is clear that we cannot go beyond SQC1. Now again, come to the point. When we are reviewing, for example, we have file. First of all, standard auditing 230, and more appropriately, UDIN is there. Now, UDIN can be generated up to 60 days from the signing of financial statement. So those 60 days are with you. Within that, UDIN must be generated. UDIN must be there on every assurance document. That's an assurance service. We need to have UDIN with us. So we have to check that particular big file, whatever we have sampled. Now, see, a file which we are reviewing must have a completion memorandum, a very interesting concept which is given under Standard on Auditing 230. That's called completion memorandum. Completion memorandum means when I have conducted audit of an entity, what are the important areas in which I have addressed some specific matters. So I should summarize the whole audit in 2 or 3 pages so that anyone who is reviewing the audit file will definitely get benefited to have an overview of the audit. So that completion memorandum, if prepared by practice unit, that will going to help us very nicely. So in some of the entities, when you are going for review, you can have a completion memorandum. They have prepared a completion memorandum. Final points which are necessary to incorporate in the report. Omanaji is saying very nicely. Yes, sir. These are the final points. So we need to check that if they are prepared. See, if they have not prepared completion memorandum, you can't say that it's a misconduct or it's a best practice which may followed, which may not be followed. If followed, it will definitely going to help us out in that particular manner. So that's a completion memorandum which is there. Now, SA 230 again says that the working paper file must be assembled within 60 days. Some of the times when we go for peer review, the file which comes to us, over which the dates have been given. So some written representations we receive from management. So those written representations have dates. Now we have to verify what was the date of the conclusion of the report, or what is the date of the report, and what are the written representation dates. Sometimes we find that when the audit is completed, the audit report has been issued. After that, we are getting the written representation date over there. When audit report is over, what we will do with the written representation? The common lapses which we would find in the points. Second thing, we should ask for the external confirmation process. External confirmation from the trade receivables and trade payables. Mind it very carefully. The external confirmation according to Standard on Auditing 505 has to be directly communicated to the auditor by the third party. If the procedure is that our firm asked to client to give us external confirmation, and that client is giving us external confirmation, and we are filing that external confirmation in our file, so it will be next Satyam. What happened in Satyam? That the same thing happened in Satyam. Bank statements have been not received directly to the auditor. That is very important, that we need to have a direct receipt of the external confirmation. Our staff should be there to have that external confirmation with trade receivables, trade payables. They should directly be posted to us. That is very important. In case of bank audit, nowadays we have seal, we have signature. Sometimes we don't have seal and signature over the bank statement, and they bluntly saying that these are not signed. In such case, as of the procedure, the standard procedure is this, that we need to have direct communication within our control. The external confirmation control is required. Now, peer reviewer himself have working papers. Whatever procedures you are performing, you need to have working papers for that. What kind of questions you have asked, what kind of answers they have responded, what kind of queries you raised, how they address the queries, and how did you report. So all working papers we need to prepare all. Now, sir, just a minute. What I'm saying is, just a minute. At the time of getting external confirmation from party, the time schedule or deadline with which, see, what I'm saying is external confirmation he has received, that practice unit has received directly. That a system should be there that they are receiving the external confirmation directly. I'm saying that we are not waiting for any external confirmation. I'm saying that. So that would be there. We have to take care of. Now, some more queries. Missing points. I have not said so. There is a missing point. Now, come on. So this is all about peer review and its process. Hope I could have made you understand certain points. If you have any queries, just mail it to peer review board. They themselves give you answer. Otherwise, they will send queries to me, and I'm going to address those queries to you. Thank you very much. Thank you, peer review board. Thank you, Ghaziabad branch, for inviting me like this. And thank you very much. External confirmation over email directly to the auditors. Okay, yeah, it's okay. If it is coming from the authorized mail, it is okay. Authorized mail of the client, it's okay. So thank you, Chairman, Ghaziabad branch, Gargji, Jindalji, Secretary Anuj Bhai, as always. So thank you very much for this opportunity given to me for addressing this August gathering. Thank you very much. I think now
so we are really grateful to see Asim Trivedi ji for teaching all of us, and I think he's a wonderful resource person, and all of us will be in a position to discharge our responsibilities as a peer reviewer in the times to come. So a very, very big round of applause. Thank you very much. And friends, we are having the presence of CA Vivek Agrawal ji, very prominent resource person from Kolkata. So may I request all of you to put your hands together in welcoming CA Vivek Agrawal ji from Kolkata. Our Honorable Chairman of the Peer Review Board, CA Chandrasekhar Chitle ji, will also be joining us soon. Chitle sir is there. And our chairman of the Ghaziabad branch is continuously there to see that each and everything is going on in an appropriate manner. So I think Chitle sir will join. In the meanwhile, if we are having any query from Asim Trivedi ji, we can ask the queries. Otherwise, we'll request Vivek Agrawal ji for his deliberation. Do we have any query from Asim Trivedi ji? करण जी सबको अनम्यूट कर दीजिए ना 1 मिनट के लिए।
करवा रहा हूं सर।
सभी को अनम्यूट कर दीजिए।
जस्ट
अब क्वेरी भी होंगी तो कैसे पूछेगा कोई? या तो चैट बॉक्स के थ्रू पूछे, अगर अभी 1 मिनट के लिए अनम्यूट कर दीजिए, फिर सबको म्यूट कर दीजिएगा।
एक बार सबको अनम्यूट कर दो।
जिससे तालियों की आवाज भी पहुंच जाए ना त्रिवेदी जी तक। तालियों की आवाज नहीं पहुंच रही है, सब लोग तालियां बजा रहे हैं, तालियों की आवाज नहीं पहुंच रही है, और विवेक जी के पास भी आवाज नहीं पहुंच रही है तालियों की। और कुछ तो दे नहीं सकते, तालियां तो दे देना। हमें तो गालियां मिलती है, इन्हें तालियां मिलनी चाहिए।
नहीं सर, ऐसा नहीं
भाई
है
जो
सर।
तालियों वाला काम करता है उसे तालियां मिलनी चाहिए, जो गालियों वाला काम करता है उसे गालियां मिलनी चाहिए। So thank you very much, Asim ji. If we are having any query from Asim Trivedi ji, we can ask. I think we have unmuted everyone. Or otherwise through chat box also we can ask the query.
सर मैं एक चीज पूछना चाह रहा था। मैं श्याम अग्रवाल हूँ।
हाँ जी,
मैं ये
श्याम सुंदर
पूछ रहा
अग्रवाल।
था, हाँ, मैं ये पूछ रहा था कि सर जैसे फाइल रिव्यू करते हैं, क्या उसमें से पीआर रिव्यूअर कोई कॉपी ले सकता है फाइल में से डॉक्यूमेंट की?
Sir, we are signing a confidentiality agreement with the pen. But what is the sense of having any? If you want to have a working paper with you, that yes, this is a very essential document. But if it is related to process or if it is related to something, we can have that. But usually no.
सर वर्किंग पेपर के लिए अगर डॉक्यूमेंट्री एविडेंस मेरे पास में नहीं है, तो हाउ आई विल प्रूव दैट आई हैव चेक दैट एंड दैट वाज इन द प्रॉपर शेप?
Sir, we will have our own peer review checklist. When we are filling that particular checklist, we will say that on this particular date or this particular time, we have taken this register and where we found these papers. We don't need to have each and every working paper, but certainly if certain papers are there which are of great importance, we can have with us because we have signed a confidentiality agreement declaration with peer review board. So that there is no harm in it for taking.
They always deny for that. No, you cannot take the copy. When we go for the peer review, then the unit always say that whatever you want to check, you can check here, but you cannot take the copy because nothing is mentioned anywhere whether the peer reviewer has the authority to take the copy or not.
See, what kind of document we can let us have an example of what we want to have. See, quality control process we are checking out from the practice unit. So what we want to say, they have independence policy, they have shown us the whole independence policy, they have shown us the whole list, how they take the, so it's kind of a review. And when something is review, now review needs audit evidence, but review doesn't need sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. So it's not an audit, it's a review. So we are applying the analytical procedures and we are getting the evidence regarding that. So we need not require more and more extracts and all that, because client's information is confidential. Though under the audit engagement letter, we are mentioning always to every client that our audit is subject to peer review. Why we are mentioning that with a client? In every standard of auditing 210, when we are issuing that audit engagement letter, the last line of audit engagement letter, if you see, it is there that our audit is subject to peer review. It means peer reviewer is going to evaluate your information, means the confidential information of client are before the reviewer. So there is no such requirement to have working paper, but if you want to have certain working paper for your reference, you can have that. But we are not silent. Why peer review manual is silent about that is just because of that, because we need to review the whole process. So process review doesn't need more and more audit evidence. That's all. We can prepare our questionnaire, fill that questionnaire, we can fill the discussion which happened between us and that. That's enough for that.
Sir, if some authority asked from me what you review there, have you any evidence for that? Then in that support, what document I can show to them?
Sir, only
because
may
Just yeah.
The
Anyone
audit,
was speaking?
Yes, sir. The audit working papers are the property of the practicing unit, and we are only reviewing that. We are not entitled to any copy. It is their property and it is only their property, and they have given a declaration to the client that they will not part with it.
Now,
And
one more thing
that
is
is
there.
in written communication. So we are not
Yeah.
entitled as a peer reviewer to get any of their audit working papers into our file. Our responsibility is to tell the peer review board that this practicing unit has properly conducted along with the guidelines issued by ICAI. That's it.
Yes, sir. I'm just adding to it. If at all something is very important and very crucial for me, that this document should be with me. If at all, in exceptional circumstances, there is one way. We will ask to the practice unit that we want this working paper. That practice unit is going to ask with the client that my peer reviewer want this working paper. Should I allow that particular peer review to share this particular document with him? If client permits, he can share the same with us, because confidentiality, which is there, what sir said, can be excused by way of getting a specific permission, but that will not require it all. I'll say it's a process audit. It's a process
not
review.
only that, sir. If that audit working paper, even if it has influenced the opinion, we are not supposed to question.
Sri Ramji, 1 second. I welcome our honorable chairman of the peer review board, CA Chandrasekhar Chitle sir from Pune, from the western part of the country. A very, very big round of applause for CA Chandrasekhar Chitle sir. Chitle sir, in spite of his very, very hectic schedule, he has just returned from the financial capital of the country, Mumbai. He was in a very, very important meeting. But just after landing at Pune, he is amongst all of us. We have just had the session of CA Asim Trivedi ji, very, very prominent resource person from Indore.
Yes,
so, and now Vivek Agrawal ji is going to take next session. And may I request our honorable chairman of the committee, CA Chandrasekhar Chitle sir, for his address, please. May I request all of you once again for a big round of applause for CA Chandrasekhar Chitle sir. Over to CA Chandrasekhar Chitle sir, our honorable chairman of the peer review board.
well, thank you, Honorable Vice Chairman, Peer Review Boards, CA Anuj Goyal ji, Honorable faculty members, Asim Trivedi ji, Vivek Agarwal ji, and all of the participants. It's indeed my pleasure to have this particular course to train the peer reviewers, which has been spearheaded by our dynamic Vice Chairman, CA Anuj Goyal ji. As you are aware that the Central Council has rolled out mandatory conduct of peer review in the month of January 2022. Thereafter, on 12th February 2022, the new president and vice president and the team of council members has taken over, and the reins of peer review board have been entrusted by Honorable President to myself and CA Anuj Goyal ji. CA Anuj Goyal ji had earlier also been chairman of this particular board, and with his in-depth knowledge, the announcement and the statement of mandatory peer review, which was released by the council, was thoroughly reviewed, and under guidance of CA Anuj Goyal ji, we realized that this particular statement requires revisiting, because although it stated that the peer review is mandatory, it stated that, okay, those firms which have accepted the particular category of audits, for them it would be mandatory. But after having said so, no time limit was prescribed whether it should be done within 3 months, 3 years, or 10 years. Therefore, this mandate was theoretical. Secondly, as far as peer review of auditors who conducted audit, who are going to conduct audit of listed enterprises, it was stated that only those auditors who have conducted similar type of assignment of listed audits would be eligible for the purpose of conduct of such audit. When myself and Anuj Goyal ji examined whether we have list of such peer reviewers, it was realized that there is no such list available, and we felt that for the purpose of review of such auditors, it is not necessary that, okay, you must have carried out the the audit of listed enterprises. Anuj Bhai stated that even if we impart training on what aspects are relevant and more important in case of audit of listed entities to our reviewers, those reviewers also shall qualify and do the peer review in an appropriate measure, because in the entire length and breadth of country, Anuj Bhai said that it may not be possible that you get such type of auditors. And if you get auditors from maybe Mumbai or metro cities, Delhi, Kolkata, then maybe travel expenses and those other costs will substantially increase. So peer review board took a conscious decision that we can have training to the reviewers on these specific aspects, and also allow them to conduct audit of enterprises or practice units which are conducting audit of listed entities. So this particular module for the purpose of training is under making, and we will definitely release it very soon. And additional training would be imparted to the reviewers to qualify themselves for such type of assignments. There were certain other procedural limitations in the statement which was issued. So we have revisited all those statements. One good news for the practice units, that supposing if any practice unit has not concluded 1 year of their existence, and in that case, let us assume that, okay, 8 chartered accountants who have practice experience of say 10 years, 20 years, they come together and constitute a new practice unit. In that case, it is possible that they also may get appointment of listed enterprises or other enterprises. So without peer review, they cannot accept the audits, particularly of listed enterprises. And at subsequent stages of enterprises having capital or borrowing more than 500 crore, turnover more than 1,000 crore. So first year, they may not be able to accept any audit. In second year, if they try to accept the audit, first year there being no trail of any audits, they may not be again able to get subject themselves to review. So a way out has been chalked out by peer review board, and Anuj Bhai and myself will soon release that particular way out for the purpose of such newly constituted enterprises to get maybe provisional peer review certificate, and thereafter within the time bound manner, once they have first cycle of audits over, subject themselves to peer review. So various changes we are bringing in this peer review statement. This peer review, as Anuj Goyal has experienced, at times becomes a routine tick box approach review. So he doesn't want to have this peer review board a paper tiger. We really want that this peer review board gives significant inputs to the practice units, so that they are not able or they are not exposed to the risks and hazards which is thrown open by the present atmosphere. Because of technological advancements, it is possible for regulators to even locate even a small error. So if we really sound a warning bell to such practice units in advance, it would really contribute to them in long run. Friends, presently we are not seeing much litigation, but as opposed to a decade ago, maybe 2 decades ago, the number of disciplinary cases against chartered accountants are on an increase. You must have noticed that recently the Parliament and Rajya Sabha has passed a CA amendment bill. There, the jurisdiction of disciplinary mechanism, the majority members and the presiding officers would be, they are calling lay persons, that is not chartered accountants. They would be having their own glasses to look at every aspect. And the regulators are also sharpening their tools. And whenever they find out any mistake, any error, they are bringing in that chartered accountancy firm before disciplinary unit. In some cases, they are also taking direct actions. Therefore, Anuj Goyal has rightly pointed out that the peer review board must tighten up their processes and really contribute to the practice units who are subjecting themselves to peer review. After the review, they should feel that yes, because of this review, there is a substantial value addition to the manner in which they are practicing, and they would be able to practice in a risk-free environment by complying with various auditing and assurance mandates. And also in case of listed enterprises, maybe additional requirements would be stipulated by SEBI and other regulators. So those also would be complied by such enterprises. So you will find within by this month end a new version of peer review board, the processes and the modalities that the board will adopt. In the interim, the present processes will continue. So because CA Anuj Goyal requested that at central region, there is a requirement that peer reviewers take training, and we need to increase the number of peer reviewers. This particular first program by peer review board has been organized. So I thank you, Anuj Bhai, for taking lead in organizing this program and also guiding the peer review board on the path of rectitude and how the peer review board can be a really friend, philosopher, and guide for the purpose of practice units. And under your leadership, I am sure we will certainly adopt those measures. It is also proposed by Anuj Bhai that we also should see what are the best practices in countries abroad, wherever such mechanism of peer review has been adopted. And whenever we examine those practices, whatever practices we think that are adoptable in Indian circumstances, we will certainly adopt. Whatever developments we make in this peer review process, we will also share our developments with those peer review boards abroad. So this is also the plan that peer review board intends to undertake. So with these words, I comment this particular course, and I am glad that you have joined in large numbers. I have also noticed that very experienced faculty has been selected by CA Anuj Goyal, and I'm sure the faculty members will do justice to the topics allotted to them. And with their indulgence, with their lectures, you will certainly find that your information, your knowledge about the peer review will increase. And also, although this is virtual program, maybe you can interact with them virtually and they will be able to answer your queries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, our Honorable Chairman of the Peer Review Board, C. Chandrasekhar Chitle sir, and the way he is leading this Peer Review Board, I think it is something really great. And after taking over by Chandrasekhar Chitle sir, after taking over by the Council in this term 22-25, this is the first peer review training program after the revised statement on peer review has been passed by the Central Council in the recently concluded Central Council meeting, and we have got the opportunity to have this training program in Central Region at Ghaziabad. So we are really grateful to Chandrasekhar Chitle sir. And before handing over to Vivek Agarwal ji, may I request our Chairman of the Ghaziabad branch, young and dynamic Chairman C. Karan Garg ji, to take over, please. Over to C. Karan Garg ji.
And Karan Garg, whenever you think we can also have physical event at Ghaziabad, when Anuj Bhai is there, I think there is a good case for having physical program when the pandemic has receded. Would certainly like to have it.
We will certainly planning to have the physical program in the month of April itself in the fourth week of April. So after taking the dates from Chitle sir, we will have this. Thank you, Chitle sir. Over to C. Karan Garg ji.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It is an opportunity for Ghaziabad branch that we are having the first peer review training program after the revised statement. And as Anuj sir has, Anuj sir will take the dates and will surely have a physical program in the fourth week of April at Ghaziabad only. So thank you so much, sir. And without taking much time, I would like to introduce our faculty for the session, C. Vivek Agarwal, sir. C. Vivek Agarwal ji is a fellow chartered accountant and associated company secretary. He is a DISA and has done forensic audit and is also a partner in SK Agarwal and Company Chartered Accountants LLP. He is specialized in assurance, having practical knowledge of India's implementation and successfully implemented India's paper manufacturing, edible oil refineries, cement industry and FMCG industries. He is holding following offices. That is, he is a special invitee in ASB of ICAI since 2019. He was a special invitee in Auditing and Assurance Standards Board for the year 18-19. He is a group member in drafting forensic accounting and investigation standards for ICAI. He is the president of Association of Corporate Advisors and Executives. He is a convener of ACAE CA Study Circle of EIRC. He was an executive committee member of Direct Tax Professional Association. He was a member of a study group of
We can cut that and we can start the deliberation, please.
May I request all of you to please be on mute, and we will be having the session of CA Vivek Agarwal ji up to 9:30 p.m. Please have the patience for the formal introduction, and then we will request to Vivek Agarwal ji for his deliberation. Over to Karan Rav ji.
Thank you, sir. He was a member of a study group of East India, which is redrafting present AS in line with India's for SME by Accounting Standard Board of ICAI. And he's a life member of Bombay Chartered Accountants Study Circle. So he's having so much experience. I am very sure that he will teach us the peer review training, and all of us will be very helpful after his deliberation. So over to Vivek Agarwal, sir, and for your deliberation. Thank you, sir.
Thank
A
you.
very big round of applause for CA Vivek Agarwal ji.
Thank you, Chitle ji, Goel ji, peer review board, and Karan Garg ji from Ghaziabad branch. And thank you everyone who is here to learn, because we all know that assurance is a specialized job. It is no more chalta hai attitude will not be there. It's more of a specialized job, and we all should understand one thing, that audit which is not documented is audit not done. And when we say audit not documented is audit not done, what do we mean? I'll have a small clip for all of you. Please have a look at it. So friends, court kagaj ka bhuka hota hai, in the sense, if we go to the court of law, documentation is only which can save us. And when we talk about audit, if you see the history of audit, Vishnugupta Kautilya, better known as Chanakya, first introduced the concept of auditing in his book Arthniti. So it is nothing new. And Birbal, a great auditor for Emperor Akbar, gave him facts and solution on several complex matters with desired evidence. So auditing is nothing which is new, and it has been there since ages. So whenever we talk to any PU also, we have to explain the PU and our peers that, friends, earlier we had a concept of direct tax consultant. Earlier we said he's a direct tax specialist. We used to say he's a service tax or GST specialist. Now we have to say he's an audit specialist. We have to talk about assurance as a specialized field. And if we are not specialized in assurance, we cannot do audit. And our PU is not specialized in audit, we cannot do audit. Sir was recently talking about the amendment in the bill, the recently passed act which is there for ICAI, ICSI and ICAI. It talks about a non-CA heading the disciplinary committee. And when a non-CA heads the disciplinary committee, he will say that the auditor's role was to check the financial statement, which is in line with accounting standard or Ind AS, and by complying with auditing standards. So a question to all of us first, how many auditing standards are there? Because we'll go and review the PU, or I would say guide the PU. So we should know how many standards are there in audit, because that is the first most responsibility of an auditor, to comply with the audit standards and document as per audit standards. And our PU is required to document as per audit standards. So just a small question, how many standards on audit are there? Please be active on chat box, because after a good deliberation by Mr. Trivedi ji, who is one of the renowned person and having decades of experience, it is a tough job given to me. So open our question to help our peers is the motive of a peer review. So anyone? How many standards are there in audit? And if we don't know, then what is our, what can happen with us? When we wake up, we feel that kal to mera naam paper mein nahi aayega. So if we are not complying with standards on audit, if a PU is not complying with the standards on audit, the things may become difficult. And with NAFRA and the disciplinary committee being headed by non-CA, this will be a problem. So what is peer review? peer review, we can say it's a, there's a question, it's a review, it's an audit. I would say it's more about guiding your peer. Review of system and procedure of the PU. The practicing unit is following a system or procedure, whether he's following SQC1, quality control is there. That is the requirement, or that is the work of a peer, and to guide the peer, or to guide the PU and bring him on par with everyone else. So the review of system and procedure of PU to determine whether they are in place, the policy and procedure are there or not, and whether they are working or not, whether they were effective or not while the audit was conducted by the PU. So to ensure quality and assurance service as mandated by the technical standards, that is what is peer review in a crux, which Sir was discussing in detail, Mr. Asimji was discussing in detail. So when I say peer review, it is the work not only to identify the weakness in engagement rather than failure in engagement. जहाँ पर जो कमजोर है, the person who is weak, he has to be supported and brought in power. How? With this complete peer review mechanism. So the scope of peer review, assurance service. The peer review period, which says about 3 years preceding the year in which the PU is selected, or such other period or any period as may be prescribed. When can the period be lower than 3 years? Like Sir has said about the new phase in which peer review will become mandatory for everyone, slowly or steadily. Suppose a new CA firm is formed, a new PU has been formed, and he gets the audit of a listed company, or he's in talks with the listed company to get an audit. He has to get a peer review done. So it can be less than 3 years also. The focus will be on compliance with the technical standards, professional and ethical standards, quality of reporting, office system and procedure. Vivek, why office system and procedure? SQC1. Whether the office, the system which is there in the office, the procedure of training, the procedure of imparting the updates to everyone, the training program of the staff are strong enough that the quality of the PU can be maintained to do justice to the assurance service which the PU is providing. That is the scope of peer review, to give assurance of that quality which is there in the PU. So SQC service covered by AASP, they are assurance service and they are related service to assurance service. So when we talk about assurance service, it's audit and review of historical financial information and assurance engagement other than audit and review of historical financial information. And then there are standards on related service. So standards on auditing as for audit and review of historical financial statement, and standards on review engagement, that is for limited review. There's a very good guidance on review of prospectus when a company is coming with the IPO, how the prospectus has to be reviewed, how a comfort letter has to be given, how the consent letter has to be given. So if you go to a PU who has worked for an IPO or who has been an auditor of a company who has gone for an IPO, the role of a PU, the peer review becomes very important. He has to go through the complete standards on issue of prospectus and know what is the requirement of documentation by the PU and then do it. Why I'm talking about IPO? Because last 2 or 3 years, India has seen a big boom or big blast in the IPO industry, in the capital market, in the joining of the capital market by small firms, I would say. And then standards on assurance engagement. Vivek, we are talking about engagement standards. It may be standards on audit, it may be standards on regulatory, standard on review engagement, standard on assurance engagement, and standard on related service. So Vivek, standard on audit is to audit the historical financial information to express an opinion. Understood. And then to review of historical financial information, review of interim financial reporting, level of assurance is less than an audit report, but it is the limited assurance with negative reporting. And what is standards on assurance engagement? Standard for assurance engagement other than above, like prospective financial information, review of forecast. And then there is standard on related services. When we say related service, carry out agreed upon procedure. All these are required in the IPO purpose also. When a specific procedure is there and we carry out the agreed upon procedure for that work given to us, for assurance given to us. So we make standards. We are talking about the standards. As a peer reviewer, it is very much important that we have the understanding on all the standards, because like when you're going to do an audit of say a company which is having Ind AS, and we don't have the knowledge of Ind AS, whether we'll be able to justify the work? No. Similarly, when we are going to do a review, a peer review for our peers, and we are asking them, please show me the documentation as per standards. Why? Section 143(9) of Companies Act requires it. So when we are asking them for documentation as per standards, we should first be sure how many standards are there. We should first be sure what are the requirements or what are the buckets of its standards and what is the role of its standards. There is a very, very important guidance note. Please make sure that we go through all the guidance note, as these committees which are there, AASB, they take a whole lot of time to make a guidance, and we don't follow those guidance, and it becomes very difficult for us then to safeguard in the court of law to prove that we have followed the guidance. So friends, there is a very good guidance on issue of certificates. Issue of certificates. We cannot give a certificate, or by PU cannot give a certificate to whomsoever it may concern. There has to be paragraph on the conclusion. There has to be a paragraph on the auditor's responsibility. There has to be paragraph on the management responsibility. There has to be paragraph for the purpose of the certificate. It cannot be that any Tom, Dick, Harry comes for the certificate and the PU issues a certificate. There has to be a requirement under which law they are giving the certificate, to whom they are addressing the certificate. All these are written in the guidance note, and we have to follow the guidance note as a PU, and we have to follow the guidance note as a peer reviewer of a PU. So it becomes very important that we are updated with all the standards. So technical and professional standards, friends, when we are talking about technical and professional standards, standards on quality control, accounting standards, and standards on auditing. Why? Because when I'm going and saying that, boss, you have not done this work as per the requirement of the standard, we should first be updated with that standard. The ethical standards, the professional standards, the ICAI code of conduct, which has been recently updated, we should be updated with everything. Professional standards, a statement issued by ICAI, various guidance issued by ICAI, notification direction, including those of a self-regulatory nature. When suppose I'm going to do a review of a PU who is doing a branch audit of a bank. So first of all, the PU should have something or a knowledge base about the various RBI guidelines. And if you go say tomorrow to do a review of a PU, the PU must have all the updates, all the notification issued at the time of COVID for bank, and those bank guidance, all the PU should have at least followed the guidance not issued for bank audit by the institute, where all the notifications are mentioned. And the team which has gone and checked must have a basic checklist that they have followed all the requirements. The basic checklist in regard to SQC1, the basic checklist. I am saying documentation can be more or less, but documentation has to be there first. There can always be a scope of improvement on documentation. There can always be an upgradation on the documentation. But if nothing is there, no one, neither our institute, neither any board, or neither any, I would say, disciplinary committee can save us. So the PU has to be taught, or not only taught, but guided that how to have the documentation. If the gaps are there, they have to be guided for the gaps. And in the given time, if they upgrade themselves with the gaps, we have to give the report accordingly. Then, as I was saying about section 143, there is a very big important requirement, but basic requirement to financial statement. The auditor shall make the report after taking into account the following: the provision of the Act, the accounting and auditing standards, matter which are required to be included in audit report under the provision of the Act, rule, order under section 143(11), and rest of his information and knowledge. So friends, as I was saying, 143(9). Most of us, when we do audit, we are well accustomed with the accounting standards. We are well accustomed with Ind AS. Now we have to be well accustomed with auditing standards, and therefore assurance is a specialized job. And to become a reviewer of a person who is doing assurance becomes more specialized. So peer review work, if we are taking or assignment we have to justify that by having this technical upgradation, by going through the checklist issued by ICAI, by going through the guidance note, and then guiding the PU. Disciplinary action based on peer review. As per the revised statement on peer review, if the board is of the opinion that the finding of the subgroup contains material deficiency on the PU, then the board shall revoke the peer review certificate and refer the matter to council. Now, suppose a PU is there and we ask for the documentation, and the PU gives me a documentation, a checklist is there, a checklist for AS, a checklist for guidance note. Although the checklist is of 4 pages, but there is something. And if the PU says we don't have the permanent file, temporary file, forget about checklist. Whether it will be a material deficiency, please write in the chat box. Whether it will be a material deficiency. It is a matter of judgment. What is material, what is not. But if we are saying that a PU is having a material deficiency, we should document. We should document by having a synopsis or a write-up why we are saying a PU is having a material deficiency. So friends, please write in the chat box, what do you think? You all are going to become a peer reviewer. What do you think will make you to give a report saying that there is material deficiency? Please use your chat box, friends. All the seniors, all the brothers who are there. What will be material deficiency as per you? Or there are what 5 or 3 important things will be there. If it is not present, we'll say that the PU is having material deficiency. Just now we were talking about general control, quality control, substantive procedure, compliance procedure. Appointment letter is missing. Once we take the appointment, then NOC, no objection certificate is missing. No objection certificate, NOC is taken as a big material deficiency because we are taking work of our peer and we are not taking his or her NOC, other firm's NOC. What else? The basic appointment, a copy of the financial statement is not there, or the Xerox copy is there, the original copy is missing. They can keep and scan, but the copy of the financial statement should be there, or the documentation should be there. The basic checklist should be there. And if it contains the material deficiency on the PU, then the board shall revoke the peer review certificate and refer the matter to the council for considering whether the same may be referred to disciplinary directorate for initiating disciplinary action. So we were talking recently about general control, independence, maintenance of skill, outset consultation. Mr. Asim Trivedi was always talking about this outset consultation, staff supervision and development, office administration. Why our practice is called as a practice? Because we are always practicing. And by practicing, we can work towards perfection. We can never become perfect because perfection is a hypothesis. We can always move towards perfection. When we are saying we are moving towards perfection, we have to update ourselves. The CP system of ICAI is there for upgradation. But apart from that, the training of the articles, the training of the staff, the training of the qualified, we have to explain them that after becoming CA, your study becomes 10 times more. Because it is not about exam, now it is about giving a report to the outside world on the basis of which all the stakeholders take a decision. हाँ बोलिए जय भगवान शर्मा जी आपने हाथ उठाया कोई क्वेश्चन है सर? I am unmuting you. Sir, you can ask the question. Jai Bhagwan Sharma ji. I think it's by mistake. So you can write in the chat box in the meantime if required. So maintenance of skill, outside consultation, staff supervision and development, office administration, how the office is administered. So these are the general controls. And specific controls, audit, record administration, review and evaluation of system of internal control, substantive test, financial statement presentation, audit conclusion, and audit report. When we are saying a general control, we ask the questions in the given format of the ICAI of the general items. And when we have selected some of the clients, whether for tax audit, whether for statutory audit, whether for internal audit, we ask them, sir, please share with me the permanent file and temporary file when we go for the on-site review. We ask them, sir, your cargo report is saying that you have taken physical verification of the fixed asset, but in your financial statement, there is no asset. So what physical verification you have done? Show me the report of physical verification if you have. So your cargo report is saying that inventory was physically verified, but the inventory is not there. It was a service industry. So we have to see the report in detail, the audit conclusion made in detail, the financial statement presentation. I remember once a decade back, or I would say 7, 8 years back, a quality reviewer had come for our firm's review. And when we said we have done vouching, please prove me that you have done vouching. Means if a PU says that the vouching has been done, whether the dump of the day book was taken, sample was selected as per SA 530, then whatever review was done, it was written at the side of each of the item. Earlier, we used to use a pen or a pencil to mark that this voucher we have done. We used to give a tick mark. But now those systems are not there. Everything is online. Everything is on system. So please take a dump. We have to explain the PU. Please take a dump. And after taking the dump, we have to write on the side what are the things. What are the things which can be? What are the things written or which are there present at this against each of the item? What are the things seen which was seen? Whether the proper authorization was there, whether the proper supporting was there. So all this has to be answered. So once you have done a specific control review, we go forward. We ask some question. Does the PU have a system of quality control for attestation service? Whether the article is making the report, attaching the DSC and sending to the client, not a single mail, not a query, nothing from the partner in charge. The partner has given the DSC to the article. He is using the DSC, attaching the DSC, sending the certificate without the review of the partner. So whether it's a quality control, whether the quality control exists, assess based on completed questionnaire developed by the peer review board and initial meeting with the PU when you go in audit or in the peer review. Sir, you have good firm. How you are working, sir? How many people are here? Vivek, I am only one man show. Very good, sir. How many articles? Sir, 7 articles. How many CA? Sir, none. Means sir, all the items you see yourself. Yes, sir. So whether the article is sending to the partner in charge to see, you have to take a walkthrough. So ये certificate आपने issue किया DSC लगा के. You have issued this certificate by using DSC. Please show me that how it was reviewed by the partner in charge. What is the SOP of the PU? SOP may be in written or verbal, but कोई practice तो होगा. How you work. Once I was having a talk, and the partner in charge said that I was holiday for last 5 days, and it was a single proprietary firm. तो मतलब 5 दिन में कोई certificate कुछ issue नहीं हुआ होगा. My article is there. They are issuing the certificates. So the process is missing. The process was missing. Then the question comes, does the system of quality control is designed to ensure compliance with technical standards and maintenance of quality in attestation work? So whether the compliance is having the technical standards, how will you check? Please write in the chat box, my friends. Technical standards compliance is happening. How will we check? I will take all the questions. Please keep some patience. Most of your questions will be answered with my presentation. Whatever is not answered, I will come one to one. So, a single important question: how will we see that the quality control is designed to ensure compliance with technical standards and maintenance of quality in attestation work? Simple one-line answer with the system of checklist. Whether the checklists are filled for the work done, whether the checklist is there, yes, it is there. Whether the checklist has been filled with closed eyes or proper process is there. So how will we know? Simple. When the cargo report was issued with the physical verification report of fixed asset, whether the checklist said that the company is having fixed asset, yes. Whether physical verification was done, yes. Kindly link the physical verification report. Had that checklist been filled, kabhi galti ho nahi sakta. There was no chance of mistake, and the quality control would be at the priority or at the peak. So the quality control for technical standards can only be controlled by checklist. Review of general control, independence, maintenance of professional skill and outside consultation we have discussed, staff supervision and development, and office administration. So was the design system and procedure at the PU effective during the period under review? Whether the design system and procedure at the PU effective during the period of review. What will we do to decide the effectiveness? We'll review of controls. Then we'll go for compliance approach. Compliance approach, which in the audit term, we say test of control, TOC. And if the sample in compliance approach gives me a big gap, I'll go for substantive approach. Matlab, agar system and everything is there, working effectively, my number of files which I will do a walkthrough will become small. But the system, the compliance is missing. There is a gap. My substantive approach, number of files which I will see for the effectiveness of the control will increase. And then we'll see the 6 key controls to be reviewed: audit, record, administration, review and evaluation of system of internal control, substantive test, financial statement presentation, audit conclusion. Whenever we conclude our opinion, on what basis the opinion is concluded, the PU has to have a supporting document for sale. Whenever I give a qualified report, it can be challenged. The PU should have a sufficient document or evidence for sale. And then the audit report issued by the PU, whether the audit report was Control C, Control V, made by the article within 5 minutes, or it was actually prepared over time. See friends, what happens as a PU if we think ourselves, the audit report is the only document which goes to the public. So whether we are doing audit in 3 days, 4 days, 3 hours, 4 hours, or 3 months, 4 months, it is only that audit report under SS 700, the audit report of CARO, IFC, which goes to the stakeholders outside the company. But please think how much time we give to that audit report. How much time we give to the basic documentation pertaining to those audit reports. whether it's about SS 700, whether it's about requirement of Companies Act, whether it's about the CARO requirement, whether it's about the IFC checklist, whether it's about the fraud reporting. If we start maintaining the balance between the time in audit and time on the reporting and time on the documentation, as a small size practitioners, what happens? We give 90% time in audit, and 9% time in the documentation, and 1% time in the audit report. We have to have a balance on that. So when we talk to the PU, we have to ask them, so what was your time taken at the field? What was the time taken at the data request and doing the audit at the back end? What was the time when or invested in the documentation? And what was the time taken for the drafting of the audit report, for discussion and minutes of the meeting which you had done with the client? इतना कुछ document PU को करना पड़ेगा. Yes. Your standards on audit says to inform those charged with governance about the gap in the controls. If there is no minutes of the meeting that the information was given or no report was shared, the report dikhai auditor, sir, this is the audit report as per SS 700. No, sir, what was your finding? So there was no finding. So in forensic we say true. मैं दिखने में बहुत अच्छा है, but it is not possible. To be correct. Everything seems to be perfect. It can never happen. It can never happen to the biggest of the biggest company. It can never happen to the smallest of the smallest company that everything is perfect. When you get a checklist at the time of the peer review and it says that everything is perfect, that documentation is perfect, your sixth sense will start clicking and saying that this documentation was made now. This documentation was made now. Then peer review manual, illustrative checklist of PU, sir was discussing that, and compliance according to SQC1. Please read the technical guide on SQC1. It's a perfect piece of documentation. It gives you all the checklists. How we have to make a independence declaration. How we have to give the system of remuneration to the staff to make sure that there is no risk, inherent risk to the audit. अगर हम staff को बोलेंगे, this audit is of 10 days, you complete in 2 days, I will give you incentive. That becomes a risk. If I say that the turnover of the company is 100 rupees or 1 crore rupees, and the fees is 5% of the turnover, auditor हमेशा चाहेगा, auditor will always want that the turnover should increase by whatever means, so that my fees also increase. And it's high time that all the PU start following this SQC1 and PU, your standards on audit, and the system of cold review, hot review. Asim Trivedi ji was also talking about external confirmation, positive confirmation, no more negative confirmation. That I have sent the confirmation and we will give a proof that confirmation was shared, never received. You mean to say the client of the PU who is dealing daily with the person is not able to get the confirmation. What we do as an auditor also, we ask the client, sir, tell your vendor, next payment can only be released when the auditor gets a confirmation from your end. Tell your customers, sir, next order I will only be able to take when you give a confirmation to my auditor in the mail shared with you, in the document shared with you, directly to my auditor. Once the PU starts taking that strong step, and if documentation is perfect, no one will be there to touch our collars. Essay-wise point for verification. Yes, India's wise point of verification. That is all this checklist should be there. RO 2020, Schedule 3 revised. We have to go to the guidance note of 250 page if we do for Ind AS, extra 240 page or 209 page if we do for non-Ind AS, extra 250 page if we do for NBFC following Ind AS. We have to study and we have to have a checklist. And nowadays, our institute is helping us with the checklist, whether it's for tax audit or for the tiny audits. There's a detailed checklist for tax audit given in the latest version of guidance note of tax audit. We have to go through it. We have to see the guidance note. The PU has to go through it, and as a reviewer, we should also be updated with that requirement. So we were talking about controls, general control, compliance review of general control, independence. What is independence? One is independence in paper. One is independence in behavior. With paper में independence, behavior में independence मतलब एक होता है independence दिमाग. One is behavior or appearance. The state of mind that permits the provision of an opinion without being affected by influence that compromise professional judgment, allowing an individual to act with integrity, exercise objectivity and professional skepticism. And independence with appearance, the avoidance of the facts and circumstances that are so significant that a reasonable and informed third party having knowledge of all relevant information, including safeguard applied, would reasonably conclude that a firm or a member of auditing integrity, objectivity, or professional skepticism had been compromised. Just think. My PU is there. He goes to his client's place, and every day he's going for a party with the client. Every month he's going for a vacation with the client. He's going for the branch audit and taking a good gifts. He goes for an audit at the factory for 4 days and 3 days he's doing a party over there. Whether he's independent in appearance, any third party standing can see and say that the auditor and auditee is mingling too much to be independent. Mingling too much to be independent. And what is independence of mind? The state of mind that permits the provision of an opinion without being affected by influence that compromise professional judgment, allowing an individual to act with integrity, exercise objectivity and professional skepticism. The person who is doing audit with proper checklist and says what may happen. He may fire me tomorrow. He can ask me not to do audit. I will not get the branch audit again. But if I do the audit, I will do as per law. I will issue a report as per law. The professional skepticism has to be there. He should be independent in mind. All this becomes very important, my friends. And then disqualification is okay. We all know this. 141(3). A person who directly or indirectly renders any service, therefore in section 144. This 144 issue was there in NFRA recently, discussed in detail. If you are doing a GST consultancy for a client, and while GST audit was applicable, you are also doing the GST audit for the client. You are auditing the work which you yourself had done. You told the client, take input like this, don't take input on this, take input on this. And you yourself is then coming and saying, I'll do a GST audit. That is why when you are doing an internal audit, you cannot do statutory audit. Now under 144, there is a number when it will be said that if you are doing audit, you will only do audit. You will not do any other work. You will do only audit. If you take out the balance sheet of some of the big corporates, you'll also see amount of fees given as audit fee and the amount of fees given as non-audit fees, certification fees. All this for the work you're doing under services which are rendering, whether it makes you independent or it doesn't make you independent. The basic disqualification happens from section 144, services which you cannot render, management consultancy. Suppose you are giving the service of payroll management, and at the year end you are going and saying that, will you ever say that the PF was not deducted on this person, that ESI was not paid for this person? If you say that, the management will say, I have given you the work of payroll, you are doing audit of the work done by yourself. Therefore, section 144. Please read the case law issued by NFRA recently on section 144 management consultancy. It says that the management consultancy has not been defined anywhere. It has only given a definition which is inclusive, saying this things you cannot do. A very classical example of section 144 and disqualification for the services rendered directly or indirectly under section 144. Is holding any security of it off or any interest, is indebted in excess of 5 lakhs, given guarantee, provided any security. Friends, holding shares, I don't know, the days will be numbered when a disciplinary committee will come and say, please give me a demat statement for last 5 years. Please give me a demat statement of all your relatives for 5 years to prove that you're not having any investment in the client you audit. And you will say, sir, you know, 1 lakh face value. Yes, sir. Small clients में ही 1 lakh face value का hold करेंगे आप. The face value of each having 10 rupees, market value 20 rupees or 30 rupees. You purchase 10,000 shares. 1 lakh. 1 lakh shares अगर रिलायंस का ITC का लेने जाएंगे 1 rupee face value, 2 rupees face value, you require crores of rupees. But in small listed companies, this can be possible. As I was saying, 144 is very important. Any other kind of services as may be prescribed, accounting, bookkeeping, on this, the recent code of ethics has dealt in detail. Whether you can do valuation service, whether you can do any other service, you can give accounting, bookkeeping service. Please go through the code of ethics. It is very important that we go to the code of ethics and with this section 144, with the code of ethics and with the judgment of the NFRA. Compliance review of general control independence. Independence policy and procedure is there as per SQC 1. But the policy is never communicated to the team. So communication of policies relating to independence is important. Designation of independence officer. Monitoring independence, including safeguard to threats. Independence का policy है. Inform to everyone. After informing, a person is there who is looking after independence. A procedure whenever an audit comes, sending to all the person doing in your firm that we have got the audit of ABC Limited. Please disclose if you are having any holding in ABC Limited. Any of your relative is having holding in ABC Limited, and you are independent as per the requirement of SPC. A simple mail with positive confirmation, everyone sending, and you are keeping a folder of it. Compliance done. Uske baad, if second step, third step has been taken or not, it's again a matter of judgment. But at least first step should be there. In many PU, you will find that independence certificate is not there. The format is given in SQC 1, but no one complies it. Please check. Please check that this is complied, or we guide them. Maintenance of skill, CP requirements, in-house discussion, etc. The in-house training, outside consultation, experts for consultation, use of SS 620, documenting differences if any, staff supervision and development, orientation and training, monitoring performance and team coordination. When what happens in the small size practicing units, the article comes and the article is said, sir, क्या करने का है, कोई काम नहीं है. अच्छा Vivek, you have joined an article today. From tomorrow you go to ABC Limited to do the audit. Permanent file not given. Temporary file not shown. Basic understanding of the client missing. Basic induction as a mid-size firm we are not following. We have to have this and we have to document. Review of the work and guidance, communication aspect. If the checklist is not there, how will be the manager or the partner concerned review the assignment? Partner concerned will not be able to review the assignment. अगर documentation ही नहीं है, partner concerned will not be able to review the assignment. And if he is not able to review the assignment, how do he expect the peer reviewer who is coming to review the assignment? How do he expect the peer reviewer who is coming to review the assignment? He will not be able to prove because उसने खुद proof नहीं लिया अपने टीम से वो audit हुआ है कि नहीं. So this becomes very important. So staff supervision. ये क्यों जरूरत है विवेक? This is required for this. Assigning progressive work experience to improve ability of training. Designing a study plan to ensure that trainees are fully prepared to take examination. Ensuring application of practical technique in the work. Ensuring in-house theoretical training is integrated with the practical work experience. Ensuring development of personal and managerial skills through supervision and client contact. Ensuring that professional attitude and ethical behavior is developed among the team. So staff supervision. What are the steps taken by the PO to supervise the staff for any assignment? For say, when you go to any PO, whether you have seen that the Schedule 3 revised checklist is there, whether any training was given to the article and staff for the CARO 2020. All this has to be checked. Evaluation of general control to make an overall assessment of general control. What is the size of the PU? Important factors to be considered. Review mainly by interview. You talk to the PU. So, आपका कैसे काम होता, how you work, how you are managing your client. You have to do a review. Reviewer to identify controls on which he may rely. The PU says that I have got this control, I have got that control. How the reviewer has checked the control, whether the reviewer has done the walkthrough of the control, whether the reviewer is able to identify the control and rely on the control. Selection of engagement for review. When you go for review of records, which approach you will take? You will go for compliance approach. In compliance approach, you will see whether reliable control exists. Yes, the reliable control are existing. Then you rely on the control and do the basic level of substantive testing. But when you go and see that the compliance approach, the reliable control is not existing, the PU is only making stories. The PU is not able to prove that any control is there. Then you go for substantive approach. Do not rely on control. You ask for the maximum records, maximum file. This is also what we do for audit. We do a test of control, we do a test of detail. Test of control, walkthrough of the system which is there from point of inception to the point of completion. So what you will do in compliance approach? Sir, आपके कोई assignment आता है, any new assignment is there? What are your procedures? Before selecting or accepting the assignment, do you do KYC, know your client? Do you do understanding of your client? Who are the directors? You do a basic Google search. Any cases pending against the client in the CPI code? Who are the shareholders? Who are the major customers? Who are the major vendors? Why the auditor is resigning? It is because of the rotation of the auditor or any other reason. Talk to the outgoing auditor, sir, why you are resigning? Compliance. So whether the PU is having this system, if the PU is having this system, the compliance approach will give you good controls and you will be able to rely on the controls. If you see these reliable controls are not there, you'll ask the PU, sir, show me the file for appointment. Permanent file दिखाइए. After seeing the permanent file, you go for temporary file, then you go for records. So this is the complete procedure. To decide the effectiveness, review of control, compliance, and substantive approach. So these are specific controls, 6 key controls we have discussed: audit, record, administration, review and evaluation of system of internal control, substantive test, financial statement, presentation, audit conclusion, audit report. So substantive test क्या होता है? Take an example. Appointment of the auditor. Terms of engagement. Accounting records are available. Composition of the management. Bookkeeper and authorized secretary. Memorandum, article, prospectus, partnership deed. Understanding the client's business. Understanding the control environment. Understanding the accounting system. Past financial statement and reports of internal or statutory auditors. Evaluate audit risk using professional judgment. Design procedures to mitigate the risk. Then, what are the other substantive procedures? Perform analytical procedure to identify key account balance, highlight unusual unexpected amount and relationship, design appropriate testing. Whether your PU is doing all this. Determine materiality estimates for the audit engagement. Plan for the account balance to be tested in sampling methodology. How the PU is doing the sampling, whether they are doing judgmental sampling, whether they are doing statistical sampling, or whether they are using the random formula in Excel, sampling कैसे हो रहा है? Perform control testing and conclude on control reliability. Communicate control weakness to the management. Perform substantive analytical testing. Perform substantive test of detail. Ensure prevalence of fundamental accounting assumption. Examine and report change in accounting policy and their impact. Whether PU is doing all this. Branch audit reports, qualification, scope, limit, reservation. Working papers to have adequate audit evidence for assertions made in financial statement. Working papers to agree with books of accounts, financials, and are cross-checked. Simple. When they ask for CARO, they are saying physical verification of asset was done. When I am seeing financial, the physical asset is not there. How the physical verification was done? Perform financial statement review. Prepare audit summary, memorandum, review assisted work. How the audit documentation is done? The previous speaker was talking about 60 days audit documentation, linking of the file among each other, review individual and aggregate effect of unadjusted error, check compliance with the legal and regulatory requirement, subsequent events review. अगर कोई event हुआ है अपने audit के बाद और या balance sheet date के बाद उसका कैसे review किया? How we have reviewed the events occurring after balance sheet date. Final discussion, draft audit opinion, management representation. Compare budgeted hours to actual and analyze variance. Debriefing meeting with client. Start next year planning. The documentation of the procedures performed by PU is of critical importance. Auditor shall prepare audit documentation that is sufficient to enable an experienced auditor having no previous connection with the audit to understand. Enable experienced auditor to understand what? Nature, time, and extent. Excuse me. Nature, timing, and extent of audit procedure to comply with standards on audit and laws and regulations. Result of the audit procedure and audit evidence obtained and significant matters conclusion thereon and significant professional judgment with respect to conclusion. Experienced auditor, who is an experienced auditor? An individual having practical audit experience and a reasonable understanding of audit process, standards and audit, applicable laws and regulation, business environment, auditing and financial reporting issues. Matlab, your audit documentation of the PU should be self-explanatory. Because whenever a peer reviewer goes, he should not be asking everything. It should be self-experienced. The peer reviewer is having the knowledge of the audit process, What is the audit process required? What is the standards of audit requirement? What is the requirement of laws and regulations? Then when he sees the file, he's able to understand that the documentation was done in complete aspect. The form, again, documentation will be how big, how small, it depends on the size, complexity of the entity. Identify risk of material misstatement, nature of the audit procedures performed, TOC, TOD, significance of audit evidence, audit methodology, tools used, Excel में हुआ है, idea software has been used, or any BI has been used, or Tableau has been used, various audit softwares has been used, nature, extent of identified exceptions during the audit. Significant matters, rationale for auditor's conclusion that aspect is significant to audit. As I was saying, what is material, how that judgment or the decision that the item is material was taken. Basis of conclusion of reasonableness of areas of subjective judgment. Basis of conclusion authenticity of a document when authenticity is of doubt. SA 701. Specific aspect for documentation discussion with TCWG. Matters that are inconsistent with final conclusion. In case of departure with requirement of standards in audit, matters arising after date of audit report. Characteristics of item tested, name of the person. All these are the procedures. I'll be sharing my presentation. So if you feel that I'm running a bit fast, my clock is clicking. I'll take some questions also. So you will get this PPT. You can go through this PPT. Audit documentation for audit of smaller entity. Generally less extensive than that of the audit of the larger entity. No documentation requirement for team discussion or supervision, but explains auditor conditions still applicable. So anyone having any question? I have got 7 minutes to take the question. I saw some on the chat box. I'll just try and answer all the questions which are there in the chat box. What were the material items in which there were discrepancy or what judgment was taken as an auditor with complicated issues, matters, and dispute with the management? So he is giving an answer to a question. Audit documentation in cloud environment. Yes, there are various audit softwares. Institute is also working with various software vendors and now having audit documentation in the cloud environment. So first and foremost, when you are doing audit, when you go for audit of a client also, you have to understand how the software works. You try to understand, Tally, how it works, how SAP works, how FarVision works, how Navision works. So similarly, when you are going for cloud environment, you understand that the client is using, say, CCH iPhone. So CCH iPhone कैसे काम करता है वो आप समझिए. You discuss with the vendor or you discuss with the client itself or the PU, so how this CCH iPhone works. Then you do a walkthrough. In that cloud environment also, all the documents are there, all the truck lists are there. Who is the maker, who is the approver, that system is there. So you do that review in the cloud environment itself. How inherent risk can be controlled? So inherent risk cannot be controlled. The risk can be mitigated by various other controls which are there. But I would never say inherent risk can be controlled. Inherent risk can be minimized. Or any risk can, for that matter, any risk can be mitigated with other controls, but there cannot be 0% of the risk. Is inherent risk called environment risk? Yes, that is the environment in which the client is working. As I was saying that if you are saying going to do an audit of a client who is working in the cloud environment and the PU is not having a knowledge of the cloud environment, or he is too senior to go and see in the system itself how this documentation are done, then that can be an inherent risk to the assignment. So we have to take a call whether we'll be able to do that assignment. I am a sole proprietor. How can I follow SQC1? For this question, our previous speaker was saying that you hire a consultant. You have to have a quality control review. You have to have a hot review. Suppose आपने पूरा audit कर लिया साल भर, you hire a third party consultant and ask that third party please come and review all the files which I have done audited. And if he says that everything is perfect, you get some satisfaction of a quality review. I'm not saying he will be perfect, but he can help you, he can guide you. That in that way you can manage SQC1, or I would not say you can follow SQC1. And moving forward, Institute has recently started networking online mergers of firm or online making network of firm. You take the benefit of that, and when you are doing audit, you have to move to partnership and make a bigger firms. Audit documentation pertaining to cloud environment I have discussed. In all cases, the PR whether soft copies are enough. The soft copies are there, but please make sure that soft copies are not editable. The soft copies can be taken in the PDF formats. Like a peer review between two small firms to get a comfort. I don't understand this question. Sanichan Mathuji, if you can just repeat your question because it's not clear to me. If any other questions are there, I would request the coordinator to help in that. And I suppose I was able to justify Karanji is there. Karanji, you can guide if any other question is there of any.
Sir, there is one more question by P. Murli Mohan, sir. He is asking, PU includes network firm also.
No, as of now, PU is that firm only. The network firm, what has come in the system, what is there? Network firm as of now is outside the scope of the PU. PU means the practicing unit in whose name the assignment has been done.
So I guess, Mohan sir, that your query is solved. Do we have any other queries?
As I said, a small firm can maintain a long documentation like S2C. I would say this only, sir, Sanjay ji. But I'm not saying S2C का 100 पन्ने का आप checklist बना लीजिए. I am saying S2C का 2 पन्ने का बनाइए. फिर वो ठीक है, उसको improvement की जरूरत है. That fight can be done, but something is better than nothing.
So do we have any other queries? Yeah.
ऐसा 70 आदमी का आप डिनर जोक के रखे हैं. सब इस तरह से देख रहे हैं, बस खत्म हुए बंद के भागे. ये पूनम जी को हंसी भी आ गई.
Sir, there are queries from Abhijit ji. Abhijit ji is asking, when auditees are appointing the auditors, how independence can be followed?
Abhijit ji, independence has to be followed, but with the fear of losing the assignment, we may lose the membership itself or the license of the peer review itself or the peer review certificate. So this debate is big debate. I am a very small person to answer this. Our institute is also working on this. Many people are saying that the auditor should not appoint the auditor, but this is a big debate to be answered by me, I suppose. 3 types of network firm: alliance, affiliates, and lead firm are all excluded. Sir, in the network firm, when we say alliance, affiliates, all are excluded because whenever the network firm is signing the balance sheet, it is the single firm which signs the balance sheet. Say someone is an affiliate or alliance of say EY. EY never signs the balance sheet. It's the SR Buckley Boy which signs the balance sheet. So SR Buckley Boy is my PU. EY is not my PU.
सर एक चीज बताएं, पीआर रिव्यू अगर पहले किसी ने किया है तो इज इट नेसेसरी टू इंटीमेट टू द प्रीवियस पीआर रिव्यूअर?
नहीं, peer reviewer is not appointed. It is peer review में वो NOC वाला concept नहीं है सर.
नहीं, there is no need to take any give the intimation and the NOC.
No sir.
So, any other queries by any of the members?
मेरे ख्याल से 9:30 हो गया.
So, Vivek sir, we shall conclude.
Thanks a lot, Karan ji, for giving me this opportunity, and thanks to every people who stood there for my 1 hour allocated to me. Although the vice chairman sir ने स्टिक बोला था भैया 1 घंटा सबको रहना है, तो मैंने इसलिए 1 घंटा से 1 मिनट बेसी ले लिया. Thank you, Karan ji. Thank you everyone for attending.
Thank you so much, Vivek sir. I am very much sure that all the members must be benefited by your lecture. And thank you everyone for your presence. and we request your presence tomorrow as well for the training program. The tomorrow timing is also 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. and other faculties will be teaching you about the peer review training. So thank you very much. You can have your dinner. You must be waiting for the dinner as it's 9:30. It's very late right now. So thank you so much, and we shall meet tomorrow again. Thank you.